is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, everyone. We're going to be live in just a minute or two, and we got a lot to cover and a lot to go over. There's no getting around that. If you're new to the program, this is where MAGA comes to talk. And I'm going to be playing a lot of audio and video today, so you want to go to my main stream, which is here on YouTube. I'm going to link it up in the description. Okay. We're going to go live. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. All right, since I went to bed last night, a lot has broken involving Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens and everything that's going on with all of this. And so I did podcast about this yesterday, and after the podcast, there have been some major developments. So we're going to go through that, and your calls are welcome. Also, there's a lot of other topics in the news we're going to talk about. The National Guard is in Chicago. The president is taking Chicago back from the lawlessness of the wild, wild west that's going on up there. And there's a lot of other things to cover too. But I'm going to start with this Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk business because there's so much of it going on. And it's important to clarify and talk about what's going on here because the Turning Point USA organization and movement created by Charlie Kirk is vital for MAGA moving forward. And we got to get this organization back on track or we're going to be paying for it in the midterms and the next presidential election. So I want to cover all of this on the program. Now, Candace Owens has been coming up with all kinds of wackadoodle theories involving the assassination of Charlie Kirk since pretty much almost day one. And a lot of it's been pretty far out there. And she dropped something a couple days ago, which was pretty big. These text messages. And she dropped these text messages a couple of days ago. And it's a screenshot of part of a group chat of which the only name we see is Charlie Kirk. And I'm going to go through this, but when we first, saw these, I was like, what? This is not the way Charlie Kirk talked. Well, he did talk this way a little bit, we've coming to find out. When I first saw these texts, I thought a couple of things were possible. One, I thought, maybe they're not real. In the day of all these AI innovations, it can't be too hard to create an image of text messages. I thought that was a possibility. I thought maybe they were real. Possibly, but that was my least likely scenario of my three. And the third possibility was, Charlie Kirk was in the business of raising money from big money donors, and this text exchange might have been him telling someone something they wanted to hear so he could get them to donate or along these lines. Well, then yesterday on the Charlie Kirk show, Charlie Kirk's inner circle, his entourage, of people that have taken over the show, at least for now, confirmed that the texts that Candace Owens showed are in fact real. That, in fact, one of them was a part of this text thread, and let me read it to you. If you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, you're going to want to go to my main stream on YouTube where you can see and hear all the audio and video I'm going to play and see the images. So, and the link to the main stream is in the description of the live stream with the green behind me. And I'm going to read through this text, then we'll play some of the video and audio of the last 48 hours of things that have gone down. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. And we'll be on the air in a little more than 30 minutes on the radio, but we're just here on YouTube right now, getting a little pre-show. But here's the text thread. Charlie Kirk just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Okay, now, that first line there is why I thought, well, maybe, Tucker Carlson had been speaking at all the Turning Point events. I saw him myself at one. And what arrangement Tucker has with Turning Point and had with Charlie to appear, we don't know. However, people like Tucker Carlson get paid big money on the speaking circuit. It's big money. And they have to get them there, fly first class, maybe private, put them up in fancy places. And I thought one of the possibilities is, well, maybe, maybe not. Maybe he's just throwing this out there to get Tucker Carlson in at a lower fee. I really thought that was possible because to see Charlie Kirk talking this way about Israel just seemed a little off to me. But again, this text has been confirmed by Turning Point USA. Okay, so back to this. Charlie Kirk, he texted, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Of course, Candace Owens. Next person in the thread went, ugh. Charlie then texted, Jewish donors play into all the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And then somebody in the thread writes to Charlie Kirk, please don't invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times. And, okay, so I had mentioned on the podcast yesterday, I've been contacted by multiple people about Tucker Carlson, myself. And I'm not inviting him to speak anywhere. And I told a story yesterday on the podcast about a lady, but she's not alone. I had a personal appearance months ago that I did where a lady came for one reason and one reason only, to tell me not to talk about Tucker anymore. Jewish lady. And I've had other people who are Jewish say similar things to me about Tucker Carlson, okay? Because he had a particular guest on that very anti-Israel, considered very anti-Semitic. I did not hear that interview, but there's a particular interview that he did that really set things off, and he has not been pro-Israel with this cause. So when he says here, though, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause, then, that, because Charlie Kirk, sadly, is no longer with us, we don't have any context to what was going on. He can't explain himself. But a lot of people are reading into that is that he was going to become pro-Palestinian and pro-Gazan. I don't know about that, or become a fighter against Israel. I don't know about that either. A lot of people, me included, and the president's on board with this as well. A lot of us are pretty upset with Netanyahu. Netanyahu has drawn this war out a long, long time. He's a lot like Putin. He just, Israel was attacked in a god-awful attack 2 years ago. It was a god-awful attack. And, it was barbaric in nature, 100% unprovoked, one of the worst terrorist attacks in the history of modern civilization. Not by the numbers, but per capita with Israel, it was a huge loss. I mean, it was like, because Israel has a small population, and it was just a brutal, barbarian attack. And Netanyahu and Israel had world opinion on their side, but they've had this war going on so long public opinion is turned against them. I mean, Netanyahu doesn't want the war to end, like Putin doesn't want the war to end, and I think that's obvious. And that doesn't mean that I am strongly pro-Israel. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying here. I'm very pro-Israel, and nothing will change me on that. However, I'm pro-American, but sometimes we have presidents that I don't like Biden or Obama, that are doing things. Doesn't mean I'm anti-American because I don't support the president and a particular thing they're doing, although I always support Trump. But you know what I'm talking about. So the same goes for Israel. You can support Israel and not approve of actions taken by their prime minister, right? It was government actions that gave Gaza to the Palestinians years ago. And most pro-Israel people in this country didn't support that either. But anyway, there's pretty hardcore stuff. Jewish money, a Jewish donor, Tucker, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause, Charlie Kirk says. And there was a lot of suspicion around this. And people were saying, well, how did Candace get this? Well, then we find out that it is actually a text thread. This is Andrew, who he was Charlie Kirk's #1 guy, and he's been kind of taking over the host duties of the Charlie Kirk Show. And he confirmed that the text message screenshot that Candace Owens showed was in fact real. Same. Now, see, this is interesting. So you got to wonder, he shared this with people. So is his screen grab the one that made it to Candace Owens? It sounds that way. And I'm wondering, did he send it to Candace Owens? I was talking on my podcast yesterday. I got a lot of feedback from people about this. I am firm in my belief that Charlie Kirk, it was a political assassination, obviously, but it was done by never-Trumpers, deep state people, the same people that killed the Kennedys, killed Martin Luther King, and shot the president in Butler. I stand by that. I don't believe Mossad did it or anything. And Charlie Kirk accomplished what no one else even tried to do, because it was thought to be impossible, and that's to turn young people into Republican voters, and he did it. He made being Republican cool in college and high school among kids. Who would have ever thought? And the political movement that Charlie Kirk had started not only was successful, in many ways it was just beginning. Because we're kind of like in the first wave, the first generation of people that are young in college and high school that have become Republican because of it. This was going to be a long-term thing. And the reason they assassinated Charlie Kirk is in large part responsible for the re-election of Donald Trump with such overwhelming majority votes. I remember we won all the battleground states, flipped all these counties, red and Democrat states. And Charlie Kirk played a big part in that. President Trump talked about it at the time and has been very specific, still talks about it today. I'm not saying Trump would not have won without Charlie Kirk, but maybe he wouldn't have. He certainly wouldn't have won with the ease that he did. It would have been much tighter without Charlie Kirk. And his movement was growing. And these evildoers assassinated Charlie Kirk because they wanted to stop his political movement. And right after the assassination, I told you guys on this program, and most everyone, I think everyone has disagreed with me on this. I'm being proven right here. I don't want to be right about this, but I told you, Martin Luther King had a great movement. The civil rights movement led by Martin Luther King Jr. was an incredible movement that changed this country away from all that Democrat Jim Crow, that Democrat segregation and all of that. And a lot of people in power in the establishment, mostly Democrats, J. Edgar Hoover, as well, they were threatened by this because it was changing everything, right? It was empowering blacks. They viewed him as a revolutionary person who was a threat to their establishment political power. And when Martin Luther King was assassinated, the civil rights movement never was much of anything. You had a bunch of charlatans from that point forward, and it lost its juice. And after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, I said, that's what their plan is with this. You like with Martin Luther King's movement, which Charlie Kirk modeled himself after. I think it's pretty obvious. Literally doing sit-ins at these colleges. That's really, I think, why he was sitting down most of the time, or at least pretty much every time. They assassinated Charlie Kirk because they wanted to destroy his movement. And it looks like they're being successful with that. There's incredible amounts of division among MAGA, among conservatives, even among Turning Point people. And someone inside Turning Point has been leaking information to Candace Owens because we got the verification that the text messages are real. So this is his number one guy. Let me play a little bit more of it. See? Okay, so there we go. So it is 100% authentic. Now, again, if you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, you want to go to my main stream. The link is in the description of the video with the green behind me, and there you can see and hear all the audio and video and imagery that I'm showing. Okay, it's all there. That's my main stream. Just go there. So Candace Owens was right about this. No question about that now, okay? And there's a lot of other things she said that she was right about. She hasn't been right about everything, but she was also right about him attending Catholic church. You know, his wife was raised Catholic, okay? And he was going to Catholic Mass, which I'm very happy with, being Catholic myself. I wish everyone was Catholic, you know? And this panel of guys that were hosting the Charlie Kirk show yesterday were his top entourage and guys that were with him and worked with him all the time. And they confirmed all of that. Okay? Now, that does not mean that Mossad did it, but it does mean that there was a change afoot. And since I went to bed last night, I woke up today and all kinds of crazy things have happened. Let's go through some of the video. Here's Candace. Wow. Okay, so this is amazing because we know, because the text messages that Candace Owens has shared have been confirmed by Turning Point USA as legit, she does have a source or sources on the inside of Turning Point that's telling her things and giving her information. That's true. And she's being very specific about this. Let me rewind this and I'll play the whole thing. But she's obviously talking about multiple sources. Now, I still stand by my theory, and that is this grand conspiracy to stop the Turning Point USA movement that was magnetizing and red-pilling America's youth. Okay? The Democrat Party is virtually non-existent now. And Charlie Kirk, next to President Trump, was the second most powerful conservative and most important conservative in this country. And I've been following my entire adult life, even when I was a kid. When I was young, I used to watch the news and the politics and followed everything. But I've been following it closely my entire adult life. And I've seen a lot of conservatives come and go. Most of them, over 90% of them, are ineffective. Charlie Kirk not only was effective, he was the most effective conservative activist and organizer next to President Trump that we've ever had, because President Trump formed the whole MAGA movement, right? And they tried to stop Trump multiple times. You know all the stories. I don't have to tell you. And they took out Charlie to try to stop our movement. A lot of people say he was going to be president one day, maybe, but it's not about that. This is about the Democrats and the political establishment getting back in power. The political establishment are completely out of power right now. I mean, look, this government shutdown, we're a week into this government shutdown, and President Trump's going to start firing people. That never would have happened before. The Democrat Party is on less than life support. I mean, they're like, they've almost coded out of existence. The Republican establishment, they're still around in exile. You got to look around for them. But they're planning a comeback. And they didn't see a path with Charlie Kirk out there. This is what they've told themselves. They've tried and tried with President Trump. Nothing worked. He's got his second term. When he retires, he won't be as effective, they think, plus because of his age. This is what they've told themselves. I'm not agreeing with this, but this is what they've told themselves. But if we can get Charlie Kirk out of the mix, the MAGA movement will fade away. And it's going to make it a lot more difficult for us. Turning Point USA is so important. I'd like to hear your thoughts on all of this. I got more to share and a lot more audio. The number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I want to remind you all that all of this extra content I bring you, the early morning pre-show, my afternoon program, my weekend programming, all of that's brought to you by Mike Lindell at MyPillow. And he started this last month, was the first month. And I had a meeting with them at the end of the month, and it was a very successful campaign. You guys have been supporting them. Thank you so much. But for Mike Lindell and MyPillow to continue to support all of this extra content I'm bringing you, you have to keep going to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane at checkout. And it's a good time to start doing your Christmas shopping. The free shipping offer is in effect. There are incredible deals going on right now. And you can start your Christmas shopping early with these incredible prices. Yeah, guys, so support Mike Lindell. I just had to authenticate my Twitter. How many times a week do you have to authenticate your X account? It's almost every day. So, Charlie Kirk, as important as he was saying some of this. This is a clip of Charlie Kirk with Megyn Kelly, and it backs up the authenticity of the confirmed Charlie Kirk text messages. If you're on hold, stand by.
The behavior file like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight sometimes. There's another article on the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you, what are you doing? I'm sorry, like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But, like, some of the men, you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
It's very irritating. It's been so unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith isn't allowed to criticize Israel. Both sides, the Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat the same time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say, the people that are attacking me are in a hyper-paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megan. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb, right?
Yeah. So, and it's offensive. It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side. And now you have a couple of comments like, well, what about this? Well, has it gone on too long? Like, is it time to wrap it up? And the thing about Epstein is just so bizarre. I don't know who he was an agent for. It might have been Israel or an asset, or it might have been nobody. But we're allowed to speculate about that. It's like there's some rule. You can't go there when it comes to Israel.
Well, you and I believe that we're Americans and Americans first. Period. End of story. We are citizens of this nation, okay? And Israel, we have funded, we have supported, and they're up against a sea of Islamic totalitarianism, and we should be cheering for them, right? Because they're up against barbarians and monsters, and we want them to win. However, here is Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk combined, probably 30 million social media followers, like pretty, right? And you and I have been holding this down. You probably get the negative, oh, you're just shilling for Israel, whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what's right regardless of the feedback, right? But then all of a sudden, like, I host a person that I moderate the debate of mine, right? And I give equal time to Josh Hammer, equal time to a pro-Israel advocate, and my moral character is being put into question. And so I think it's a hyper-paranoid, like, we're just going to try to, we're going to just stamp out everything type of practice, but it goes to the point where, if, for example, if I have less ability sometimes online to criticize the Israeli government without backlash than actual Israelis do. And that's really, really weird, isn't it, Megan?
Wow, it's hard to, you hear his voice and you see him there talking. It's hard to believe he's gone, isn't it? Still, it is. It is. Yeah, and what he's talking about is asking any questions, not dropping support of Israel, but questioning the policy of Netanyahu. You know, those of you that have listened to me since I've been doing this in my teenage years, my late teenage years, when I first started in broadcasting over 30 years ago, I got in big trouble at a radio station, and I was one of my first radio jobs where I was talking on the air about issues like I do now. I was fired from the station general manager, who was one of the owners of the radio station. Had fought in the Israeli 7-Day War. He was in the Israeli army, and I can't remember what the specific issue was. I mean, we're talking like over 30 years ago. But I said, oh yeah, I remember now. if I tell you the story, I said I said something that was not anti-Semitic, but it was viewed as being critical of Jews, even though it wasn't. And I got fired for it. And there was a guy who has passed away. He was the #1 guy in Miami radio since the 70s, 80s, 90s, and even in the early 2000s. He was the #1 guy in the Miami radio market, Neil Rogers. And at the time, I was like 19, 20-ish, 21, something like. I was between 19 and 21 when this happened. So it's been a long time. I'm 54 now. It's been a long time. And I remember when Neil Rogers told me, this was off the air, he says, Brian, you can't talk about the Jews. He told me that. He said, you can't talk. And he, by the way, was Jewish. He says, you can't talk about the Jews, Brian. And there's a lot of truth to that we're seeing now with some of the things that are going on. And that's what Charlie Kirk is talking about here. All right. Now, I will take some calls. Now, again, we're not on the radio yet. This is just on YouTube. The number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I was calling. This is Maria from Florida.
Yep.
Okay, I was calling because I've been watching the situation with Candace Owens, and I've been listening to her. I listened to her one time. It turned me off because everyone, and I've been listening to all Charlie Kirk, his speeches way before he passed away, like 2016. After Donald Trump had won the election, I went on ahead and started listening to some of his stuff. He sounded good. You know, he sounded like me because, you know me, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
So I started listening to his stuff. But in the last, I think it was the last 5 months or 6 months before he died, he started criticizing Israel for the things that they was doing to him because they was literally threaten him. Now, the text message that I seen, that's actually true.
Yeah.
But Candace Owens, to me, she went too far because she said Israel killed Charlie.
Yeah.
That's not true.
No, she's wrong about that. She's wrong about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the text messages are true. Charlie Kirk was about to cut Israel, but the Netanyahu crowd, I would say the Never Trumpers. That's who I believe he was talking about.
Well, a lot of us in the MAGA movement, including President Trump himself, because remember there was a story that dropped a few days ago, are not happy with Netanyahu, who's been dragging this war out. He had public opinion on his side, and he turned.
Yeah.
You know, Netanyahu's causing a lot of problems. You know, Zohan Mamdani, who's projected to win in New York, is in large part doing so well because of Netanyahu.
Yeah, he are. That is the reason why that guy is going to win. And I just say to New York, good luck to you because you guys, you know, after everything we have been going through and the President Trump trying to get this country back on the right track, and now you're going to elect a communist, that guy?
You know, it's a sad thing. You know, there is no one, by the way, who's a stronger supporter of Israel than me. I support Israel, but Netanyahu's messed everything up. And there's a big rise of anti-Semitism in this country. You hear me talk about it a lot, not just with liberals, but with MAGA people. And dislike of Netanyahu and the way he's carried on with the war is in large part responsible for that.
Yeah, he is, because like they say, he could have been did this, and you have these Never Trumpers are pushing, try to push President Trump to keep Israel in the light as, you know, don't attack Israel.
Yeah,
and,
that's right.
You know, knowing President Trump, that's not going to happen.
No.
And so I do believe that the Never Trumpers did have something to do with this young guy coming trying to attack.
This was Democrats, never Trumpers, deep state. It was a collection of people.
Yeah.
You know, and it was all, and taking out the assassination of Charlie Kirk was about stopping the MAGA movement. They figured, well, Trump's in his second term, that'll be it. And after they don't have Trump, it's gonna weaken. But we got this Charlie Kirk problem. If we get rid of Charlie Kirk, the movement will dissolve. And we see Turning Point evaporating before our eyes over all these conflicts.
Yeah.
We have people inside Turning Point that are leaking information to Candace, and we have people in Turning Point confirming that Candace Owens does have sources in which some of which she's reporting. In the instance of him becoming Catholic, and the text messages is all true.
Yeah, it is. You know, because I know I heard him say multiple times that he was not, going to come there, because he said that's a two different version of God. He doesn't want to do that, but I don't know I don't know how true that part is. Yeah. But I do believe that he was really actually walking away from Israel, from,
I don't know about that. Walking away from Netanyahu.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, Tucker's no fan of Israel in general, not just and there's a lot of people are speculating on where he's getting paid from and such, and there's been documents online, and Laura Loomer has covered a lot of this, and and I always told you can always trust Laura Loomer. She has a 100% accuracy rate. So if Laura Loomer reports something, you can take it to the bank. So I've told Loomer I will never question her, because she's always right.
That's right.
So it's also possible that Tucker was working on Charlie Kirk, to flip him over,
Yeah, did you really know? Because I heard a quote from President Trump. I'm trying to remember exactly what that quote was one of the reporters asked him, I think 2 weeks ago, about Tucker Carlson, and he said something like, I don't dig those kind of conspiracy theories. That exactly came from President Trump. He said, and then they said, oh, what about Candace Owens? He said, I don't deal with conspiracy theories. He said, those people are putting out fake lies.
Well, that's true. Now, Candace is right about this one thing that we know of so far. That doesn't mean she's right about this other stuff. And she's going to take this one issue and run with it. There's no doubt about it. All right, Maria from Florida. Take care. Appreciate the call.
All right.
You too. She's a good caller. You're on the air. She adds a lot, doesn't she? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
Hey, Texas. What's up?
Hey, man. You all right this morning?
I'm always all right.
Well, good. Hey, look, I want to say this to you. I know you always said Biden was checked out, that he didn't know what was going on in the White House, and I agree with you on that. And I'm saying that to say, too, I don't think Trump is even running the White House. I think Russell Bolton and Steve Miller is running everything.
Well, the problem is we see him every day in the Oval Office having events, whether it's announcing something or signing executive orders, and then it turns into it turns into a press conference, and he's obviously running the show. We didn't have that with Biden.
Every day at this press conference he has, they be laughing at him, because it's like, what are you talking about?
Who's laughing at him? I said, who's laughing at Trump?
Everybody, Brian.
No,
everybody.
Not everyone.
No. Everybody's laughing at him.
I'm not laughing at him. I'm proud. I'm proud of him and our country.
Because you love him. You love him.
I do love President Trump. Absolutely, I love the man. Absolutely.
And the problem is, like I said again, Russell Bolton and Stephen Miller is running everything. Yesterday, Pam Bondi looked like an idiot yesterday. When the radio show opens up in just a few minutes, I'm going to talk about Pam Bondi before I get back to this Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk stuff. But everyone was not laughing at Pam Bondi. Your perception on things is so warped. You know what? Yours are too. You know what? That's why I'm saying, you saying mine's a warp. I'm saying yours are warp. So
yeah, but I'm right. Okay, you're wrong.
I'm right too. I'm right. We're both right.
Well, let me ask you. Forgetting about the personalities, when it comes to policy, I'm just talking about pure policy. What is your real beef with Republicans so far as policy?
I don't have a beef with Republicans. I don't.
No, but you're always attacking Trump, who's the leader of the Republican Party.
Because the stuff that he's doing.
Like what?
Prime example.
What's he doing that's so bad?
The prime example, he said that he's going after the criminals. And actually, okay, he may have went after a couple of the criminals, illegals. He may have went after a couple of them. But now he's going after people that are legal. Just going after random, just going on the streets and picking people up. And the people are legal citizens.
That's
and you
not
know
true.
He's doing
that's not true.
Yes, it is, Brian. Yes, it is. You can argue all day long.
Who are these Americans? You know, I saw a quote here.
Brian, you know it's true, Brian.
Let me see if I can pull. I was going to get to this later. By the way, all the stories that I talk about are all on my X. Kash Patel pointed something out. Listen to this. Kash Patel, he was on Fox yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kash Patel said about 5% of Chicago's residents, right? 2.5 million people live in Chicago. Kash Patel said nearly 5% of Chicago's 2.5 million residents, which is about 110,000 people, are active gang members.
I don't believe that. There ain't no way in the world that's true.
Well, I know you don't want to believe it, but that's...
No, it's not true. Kash Patel, I don't trust Kash Patel. Kash Patel is an idiot.
Why would...
Kash Patel is an idiot.
So we got over 100,000 gang members, gang affiliates in the city of Chicago. You don't
That's not true.
You don't have a functioning government. Government's number one job is to keep its citizens safe. And you have anarchy is what you have in
No, you don't.
Chicago.
No, it doesn't. Chicago has been Chicago forever. Probably for me, it's going to be Chicago.
No, it is not. No.
Yes, it has.
No,
there was a good
been
run.
You know, I remember my wife used to have a specialist in Chicago, and she'd have to fly up there a couple times a year. I never went because I was working. She'd go up there with our daughter when our daughter was a little girl with my mother-in-law, and they walked the streets without any fear. It's not the same city. It hasn't been like this since Al Capone's days. Listen, I got to run. We're coming on the air, but thank you for the call. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number is toll-free and pinned in the live chat. We're going to be on the air in just about 35 seconds. Hold on. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, stand by. In the pre-show, I start the show every day about 30 to 45 minutes early, taking live calls, and I was talking about some things going on with Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, which I will recap in a bit. But here at the top of the hour on the radio show, I want to talk about Pam Bondi yesterday. Pam Bondi looked and sounded great. And I enjoyed her filleting these low-life creep Democrats. And it would be very easy for me to come on here today with all of these sound bites and go through them and say, look, she filleted them, she got them, yay. I don't care. Like Blumenthal, stolen valor. Blumenthal, he's the one who claimed to be a Vietnam veteran, which was a lie. She confronted him on this yesterday. And then it turned out, well, he was in the military during the Vietnam War, but he was here in the United States. And it started this trend of Vietnam-era veterans. And people that were in the service during the Vietnam War but didn't go to Vietnam get the same benefits as those who were in combat in Vietnam. And I don't, so she exposed him and everything else. But what I want to see is Comey handcuffed and perp walked today. Not walking in like it's a day at the beach and, I want to see arrest. And Pam Bondi, she did do a great job against these low-life Democrats. She had a bunch of one-liners for each of these Democrat senators, and she used them, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. But what came out of that? There's no one who's a stronger supporter of our great president than me. I love President Trump. I will never disagree with President Trump. I will never criticize President Trump. He's done so much and sacrificed so much for us in this country. We owe him that. However, Pam Bondi's not Trump. You know, the ringleader of everything that Trump has gone through since he came down the escalator is Comey. They got they got a grand jury indictment, and they're allowing him to walk in and be arraigned and surrender himself like it's nothing after what they did to our, you know, one of the things I have dealt with over the years, and it's a frustrating thing, you know, the radio audience and the online audience that we have, in some ways are different, but there's a lot of similarities. And when it comes to news, I am quite often weeks and months ahead of the mainstream media, and there are others like me who are too. And I've heard Michael Savage many times over the years say the same thing that I've felt and have talked about. A lot of times I'll have a big story, I'll go on and on about it, and people, there's people on hold now. There's always people on hold, people calling in, but people won't comment on it. You know, like the other day, it just happened this week. I did an entire story, an entire show 2 days ago in the morning about those ICE agents who were attacked in Chicago. Remember, was that Monday's show? Yeah, it was Monday's show. And had a lot of people on hold, took calls, but no one really called in about that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? And it'll illustrate what I'm talking about with Comey and Bondi. Because it had not been on television yet. And until things are on television, it's not real to people who even oftentimes are consumers of online news. And this is one that really blows me away. And then when I got off the air on Monday, everyone on television was talking about that story, and then people are interested. And by the way, the woman with the rifle that rammed the ICE car and started the gunfight, they let her out of jail yesterday. It's on I've got the story. I'll get to that later. So until things are on television, they're not real to people, even who are online consumers of news. And I don't let that stop me. I'm going to talk about what I think is important and the top most important news stories of each day. But this is something I've dealt with for years, okay, on the program. So that's why a perp walk with Comey in handcuffs is important. It's not going to be real to people how serious this is and what he did if he just pulls up in his whatever he pulls up in with his wife and lawyer and gets out today and walks in. Do you understand? He needs to be in handcuffs and walked in by FBI agents that have the jackets that say FBI on it, in cuffs, so that what he did is real to people and people have an understanding of it. It's not about revenge. I'm not into revenge. When I was a younger man, I was into revenge. You know, when you're young, you don't understand. You're pissed off at the world. Everyone's trying to screw you over, you think. Oh, man. You know, it's not about that. It's about people. You know, I personally have believed for years that Comey, not Obama, Comey is the ringleader of everything that Trump has gone through since he came down the escalator. Everything. Now, if John McCain were still alive, they'd be partners working together. But he died years ago, John McCain. And when he pulls up in his car and just strolls in to some federal building, what does that mean? Did they let Roger Stone do that? Roger Stone, I had Roger Stone on the show a few times talking about that. He said he could see the Justice Department from the window of his living room. And they still did, or I'm sorry, not Roger Stone, Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro told me that he could see the Justice Department building from his living room, Peter Navarro. And they still busted in, arrested him, put him in shackles. They put Peter Navarro in shackles. And you know what they did with Roger Stone here in Florida, the feds. You know, that was just about nastiness. But what Comey has done is so severe walking in and out of a federal building like he's visiting, it doesn't send the message that the country needs to see, that he is a bad man who was the ringleader behind an over decade-long, which, by the way, is still going on today. It hasn't ended. He is the ringleader, certainly one of the top commanders in the entire everything that President Trump has gone through. And if he's escorted in by federal agents in handcuffs, you know, he can put his coat over his wrist if he wants or behind his back, whatever it is they do. That would let people know, wow, he's under arrest. He's not going to look like he's under arrest. We may not even see him go into the building. I expect to see him come out smiling. So, remember that Shania Twain song, That Don't Impress Me Much? Remember that? So, I saw what Pam Bondi did yesterday, but that don't impress me much. Those little moments. I'm sorry, Pam Bondi. You know, she is the Attorney General of the United States. Where are these arrests? Why is Comey not in cuffs today when he turns himself in? Why is he not being escorted in by federal agents? Like he owns the joint. Like he's doing them a favor. Like he's renewing a passport or something in there. It's because of her. Now, why isn't she doing it? I don't know. Is she afraid? Maybe. I can understand being afraid of these people. Then don't take the job. But no, I can't sit here and go through a bunch of sound bites and tell you guys that Pam Bondi is spectacular. Because, you know, the congressional hearings, I don't care which house it's in, are pointless. All they're about are sound bites for the news, or these days to try to go viral. That's all they're there for. Now, I did enjoy her calling, you know, shouting down these people and calling them out because they're all lowlives and creeps. Don't misunderstand me. Everything she said to them was true, and I enjoyed it. However, I can't go through these sound bites and praise her as some great attorney general today. And I know a lot of people will do that, and maybe some of you want me to do that, but I just can't do that. I want to see Comey in cuffs. I want to see him escorted in by FBI agents with big FBI letters on their jackets. And I want to see a mugshot. They got one of our president. I want to see one of him. Don't you? In fact, I want to see that mugshot online and on television before he's allowed to come out grinning ear to ear talking to the press or waving to the press. But I don't expect to even see that. Do you? All right. So your thoughts on all of this are welcome at 888-465-2631. Now, in the early show, I was talking about a lot going on with Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, which I will recap, and you're welcome to call about that as well. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Name is Alexander, and I'm calling from Hawaii.
All right, Alexander in Hawaii. What's on your mind?
I'm just calling in because I'm really fucking pissed off.
Oh, there we go. First dump of the day, Mike. But you know what? It's the perfect time for the first dump of the day because it's time for a break anyway. And I can talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. I love Dr. Appleton because he's you know, if you notice, you hear me talk all the time that I don't have health insurance. We've got great sponsors that take great care of me. Dr. Appleton took care of my arthritis and my injuries and my pain and suffering. Life Imaging FLA. They gave me my full body scan. My heart, I have no plaque buildup, right? I have no blockage. I have no cancer. Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I lost over 35 pounds. You know, we've got, you know, to feel good, to be pain-free, and to have a good life, I don't need health insurance. I just need these great sponsors that I use here on the program. And Dr. Philip Appleton, you know, the way I came to know Dr. Appleton was just over 3 years ago. There was a guy who was a salesperson at the radio station when, you know, and he said, hey, Brian, there's this, he says, do you have any pains, any aches? You're hurting anywhere? And I said, yeah, my knee. I said, why? And he's like, well, I met this new doctor, and he's got this laser away pain treatment. He says he can get rid of that pain. I said, okay, when can we go? He said, tomorrow after the show, let's go. I said, okay, let's go. And I went to see Dr. Appleton, and I had the same consultation that you can have. By the way, it's a free, no-charge consultation with Dr. Appleton, a free, no-charge consultation. So he explained how the robotic laser works and what it would do. And, I thought, after 30 years of pain in this knee, okay, you're desperate, you want to try anything, but I was skeptical. He treated me. The next day, I was feeling better. The day after that, I went back for my second treatment, and since then, I've been pain-free in my knee after 30 years of suffering from a car accident I was in. And I was a passenger, and in the front seat, and my legs tensed up when the accident happened, and I hurt my knee. And he's rid me of pain 6 times after that, a total of 7 times, including my arthritis pain in my hand. His laser treatment works. Say bye-bye to your pain. There's no shots, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The robotic laser treatment is performed by Dr. Appleton himself, not an assistant. And not only is it painless, you don't even feel it when it happens, okay, when he's treating you. I keep my iPhone and I just, read the news while I'm getting the laser treatment. And of the 7 times Dr. Appleton has treated me for pain, not only did he rid me of pain, the pain has not returned. It works. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. Remember, appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. And the consultation is free. If you have scans or x-rays, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will gladly look them over. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online at AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. All right. We are in break. I'm going to take a call during the break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Chris from Michigan.
Hey, Michigan. What's on your mind?
Calling in because of the major issue that we're having right now with this shutdown.
Okay.
Well, I work for an agency and currently not getting paid.
What agency do you work for?
Right now, it's United States Air Force.
Well, I thought that, what do you do in the Air Force?
Signals analysis.
What's your rank?
E5.
What rank is that, E5?
Oh, I'd say staff sergeant.
How many stripes does a staff sergeant have?
Staff sergeant has 4 stripes.
4 stripes. Okay, all right. My understanding was that payday's on the 15th. I heard Mike Johnson talking about it yesterday.
Yes, if you get paid early, right? You get if you have any sort of credit union, usually get paid early, and we're being told that we will not be receiving pay for the mid-month paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you haven't not gotten paid yet because payday's in a week, right? Payday's in a week. So you haven't not gotten paid yet. You're trying to get paid early.
But no, we usually do get paid early. So if you have a credit union or something of that nature, they
do a direct deposit. You get it a couple days early. Yeah, I know how that works, and that's always a good thing, and you get accustomed to that. Well, President Trump, with children and families, he just announced he's taking some of the import taxes, the tariff money to cover that. And he did tell the Navy when he was at the 250th Naval birthday over the weekend that he was going to find a way to pay the service members. We haven't heard an update on that, but we're a week away. So,
okay. I mean, that's fantastic. If he can get money in our pocket, because I don't blame Trump. Don't get me wrong, right? I blame the Democrats for essentially shutting down the government over a falsehood, right? They shut down the government. Claiming that we're taking health care away from people or some nonsense. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, if it did come to that and we were not paid, right, it would fall in their lap, not Trump's lap. And the problem is you can't not pay these services,
well,
right?
The thing, we're in a radio station break now. We're just on YouTube. We're going to be back in about 30 seconds. I'm going to keep you on, and so just give me 15 seconds, and then I'm gonna go back to you. Okay, so stand by.
Sure, yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the line, I've got an Air Force staff sergeant, and you were telling me next week you're not going to get paid, and you were telling me that you normally get paid early. So I guess what do you have, the Air Force Credit Union or something?
Yeah. So I don't specifically go with the any sort of military credit union. I go through a Florida credit union, actually, Space Coast.
So you they're
Florida.
everywhere. So you typically payday is the 15th, but because of that, you get a direct deposit typically early, and you haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, so they can kind of predict out, right, if you're going to get paid or not on the 11th, and they've been saying that, but there's a lot of misinformation going around because people are a little.
Here's
I
want to ask you a couple things about this, okay? I saw Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, on TV, and he said something, and this is not new. I've heard this before, and it's outrageous and disgusting. He was talking about how some members of the service, their families are on like WIC assistance and EBT and things like that, and no one in the military should be on government assistance. They should be giving free baby food and formula But anyway. So what happened? Do you have a family, wife and kids?
Yeah, so I have a wife, one child.
Do you live in base housing or off base?
Off base.
Wow. Okay. So when's rent due?
So my rent would be due on the 1st. So I've already paid rent. I got paid on the 1st. You're calling in anonymous, okay? All we know is you're an Air Force staff sergeant. There's got to be, I don't know how many staff sergeants are there, but what does a staff sergeant with? You have two dependents, right? A wife and a child. What do you get paid every month? So I only get paid for one dependent.
Oh, your child, not your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the same. It's the same rate regardless of who. It's just one dependent. So it's VAH with dependents, right? Yeah, and that's that rate as opposed to.
So what do you get paid a month?
Without, but typically, so I have to map it out in my head, but I get paid roughly $2,100 for BAH, and then for base pay. I'd say I get paid about $8,000 a month, somewhere in that ballpark.
You make $8,000 a month total.
Correct.
That's not bad. I was expecting less.
No,
that's not bad. So you're making like $90,000 a year as a staff sergeant? Really?
Yeah, about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty darn good.
And that's with. Yeah, keep in mind that's BAH with dependent.
What would it be if you were if you didn't have a kid? Be $6,000?
It'd be significantly less.
About $6,000 a month?
Yeah, because you're looking at that's like shaving off about $21,000 or so if you're
Air Force. I don't know the Air Force enlisted ranks because they're a little different than the rest of the branches. So but you just need to get like one more stripe or two. You'll be making like six figures a year.
Yeah, tech sergeant, you make close. It's like, it's in the 90 somewhere.
That's crazy. I did not realize that you guys were making that much money. but this is that's pretty good. When I was in high school, now this was like, I graduated high school in 1989, so it's been a while. And that last year when all the recruiters were coming, I remember the reason I asked is this is a great comparison because the recruiter that I was dealing with for the Army, he was an Army staff sergeant, same rank as you, right? Which is what? A staff sergeant is an E456, like an E6. And he showed me his pay stub, and it was $1,200 a month. And he had kids. And I'm like, 300 a week, that sucks. But now you're pulling in like 90. So that's pretty darn good. But this is, yeah, it's good. It's good. But if you don't get paid on the 15th, I mean, I don't care what people make, okay? People live at what they earn. I mean, when's your car payments due? You got 2 cars, 1 car?
Yeah, we got 2 cars. Between the 2 of us, car payment's about $1,100 a month.
Yeah, when's the car payment? Is car payment due? I mean, you're going to miss the car payment if you don't get paid on the 15th?
No, I mean, so we have a good chunk of savings. So we were able to eat into our savings a little bit. If we end up not getting paid.
But I don't know. I don't know if
you're
the typical. You're not the typical guy because I mean you are a staff sergeant. There's more guys underneath you, and they're not making 90,000, and they probably don't have any savings, and and there's got to be a significant decrease in the amount of pay people are getting under you, and you've got the dependent, which is another 2,000. You said you get. I know it sucks, and it's not right. It's not right, but this isn't like a partisan thing I'm saying here. As much as I love Trump, there's nothing Trump can do about it because it takes 60 votes in the Senate. And these Democrats, they think that if you and other service personnel are made to suffer and do without, that, it's going to force him to give the insurance to the illegals. But I got to tell you, it can't be too hard to do recruiting if you can be. How long have you been in the Air Force?
I have been in the Air Force for almost 10 years. 10 years.
You didn't graduate college. You'd be an officer, right? So you didn't go to. Did you go to college?
No, I did. I have a bachelor's degree.
Why are you not an officer?
Being an officer, becoming an Air Force officer is actually quite difficult.
Yeah,
especially if you don't go through the academy.
Yeah.
So you can have it. I know guys with master's degrees who are
are enlisted. Get out of town, really?
Yeah.
That's insanity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does you're stationed here in the United States? So does this $90,000 a year you're making? Is this because of your specialty that you're in, or are you just paid by your rank and your dependent? Because I'm just shocked at how much you're making as a staff sergeant.
Yeah, so I'm not, and there's no special pay for what I do. It is the BAH has a lot to do with it. So Maryland is expensive, right? So depending on where you are, I know people like California, things like that. The BAH is higher. Mm-hmm. They try to. Oh yeah,
they pay by you get paid. You get paid differently by the state. Like if you were in California, your pay would be higher.
Right, and the BAH in like Tennessee, for example, is like $300, $400, or something terrible. Yeah, it's not that low, but it's low. So it's like, a lot of it has to do with the BAH. A lot of it has to do with the BAS.
Well, I'm surprised. I'm surprised what you told me about the college degree and the masters and all that stuff. But for most people in the service, the Air Force is a little different because the Air Force is the most difficult to get into because there's a lot of technical things and such. I get that, but the other branches, you couldn't work at Walmart for 10 years and earn $90,000 a year unless you got really lucky and became a store manager. I mean, you're doing pretty good in the service. That's amazing. They should report. The recruiters should talk more openly about how much you're making.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why they don't. I mean, the pay is one of the greatest aspects of being in the military.
It's damn good.
Granted, it is. And granted, the thing is, for my job in particular, I don't plan on doing 20 because I have contracting offers on the outside for much more than what I'm making right now. And, the thing is, you join the Air Force, you put in 10 years, you get paid good the whole time, and then you go and you become a contractor, you get paid even more. And you meet your contacts while you're in, and then, it's...
That's a great way to hear that, guys. You got to join the Air Force, get your kids in the Air Force. So all right, so getting back to the story of the day, I don't think you're typical, though. I don't think you're typical as a military person, even at your rank. And I imagine there's a lot of guys that are pretty scared right now that they're not going to get paid next week.
Yeah, and I hear it, and I have subordinates who are, particularly, upset over this. And the thing is, because a lot of them are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
You shouldn't, but that is what it is. And it's to see Democrats, use this, right, and laugh about it and have like this sort of like, gleam in their eye when they talk about, us not getting paid, and it's nauseating,
Yeah, it is. Because a lot of guys aren't going to be able to make their car payments, right, or their credit card payments.
No. Correct. Yeah.
And they're screwed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you are. And same thing with
mortgages.
With housing. Right now we're trying our best to set things up right where there's loan offers through credit unions specifically for service members.
Yeah. And
different things of that nature, and we're trying to make sure everybody's aware of that. But that only lasts so long. So let's say, for example, and we've talked about this, that Democrats decided that they wanted to, pull the stunt and make it last, month to month to month. What are we supposed to do? It's like
President Trump, let me tell you, because President Trump, because he comes from the private sector, right, and private business, the biggest expense in a private business is payroll. So he has an understanding of people getting paid beyond what a normal president would have. And I'm going to trust him at his word when he told the Navy. I think that he does have a way to pay you guys, but he doesn't want to announce it because they'll find some federal judge to stop it.
Yeah.
So he's just going to do it. Like he just announced yesterday, he's going to use the tariffs to pay for the WIC, for the baby formula, people and all that stuff. So maybe, he says, so the government has plenty of money. They make the money. They actually have machines that make it. So I find it hard to believe that a week from today, our service personnel are not going to get paid. I find it hard to believe.
Well, I joined during Trump's first, during his first term, and during his administration's first and now, we saw three of the biggest raises in both BAH and base pay that has ever been in the military, even by percentage. Mm-hmm. So, the military loves Donald Trump. For that reason, we know because we've been in.
Yeah.
And when Biden was in office, those 4 years, the pay was decreasing. I was stationed overseas in South Korea during that time, and the COLA was decreasing. He took COLA away, and he made us fill out forms.
Cost of living increase.
Saying why we need it.
Yeah, the cost of living increase.
And he made us fill out forms saying why we need it.
You know
what
why?
Are you kidding
it's because
me?
Democrats look down at people in the service. They think that people in the service are low-class people. Remember when you're probably a little too young for this, but when John Kerry was running for president, he talked about people that couldn't make it or have an education would join the military, right? And so they think that people in the military are people that are low-class people that can't get a job anywhere else, that they're almost like doing a favor to let you in the service. I don't think they realize how high-tech and specialized it is today.
I believe it, and they don't realize because the military has changed a lot, and now you have most people in the military are highly, highly skilled. Mm-hmm. Even people I work with, who speak 5 different languages, and they do hold master's degrees, and they're in for nothing else but to serve the country. They truly want to, serve the country, because otherwise they wouldn't be there, especially with the credentials they have.
I want to ask you this, and I don't know if you can answer this or not. All this weaponry that we've been giving to Ukraine the last few years, it's so high-tech, and everything's so computerized. It's got to be in English, not Ukrainian. We've had to have guys in Ukraine operating this high-tech equipment all these years.
Yeah. Well, think about it. I wouldn't be too crazy to get somebody in there to maybe, instruct them.
Yeah. Well, listen, I got to run, but I'm late for the break, but I appreciate the call. You've added a lot of information out there. I appreciate the call.
Yeah, absolutely. You have a good one.
All right, take care. And if you notice at the beginning of the call, because a lot of people call and claim to be military and they're not, and I verified that right in the beginning. That was a pretty interesting call. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're very, very late for the break. My apologies. We'll be right back. Yeah, that was a good call. That was very, and I was shocked that he's making $90,000 a year as a staff sergeant. Holy smokes. Is that surprising to you guys? Or am I the only one that was surprised? Now, I'm going to play this coming up. I'm going to play for you guys now. Candace Owens, did you see this? Candace Owens said she was visited by Charlie Kirk's ghost. Did you listen to this? Yeah, so she was visited by Charlie Kirk's ghost in a dream. You know, I have thought forever that they used to be a couple. I really have. You know, do you think that they were a couple back when before he met his wife and she was at Turning Point? I thought they were a couple and that she may have left because they broke up. I thought that at the time because the first time I really noticed the two of them, Charlie Kirk and Candace. I mean, I knew who she was because I remember when she was on Periscope. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go back to the phones after the break. They were harassed having breakfast somewhere. I can't remember if it was Washington. I think it was in Washington by some leftist. And I saw them, and they looked like a couple to me, like they were romantically involved. You know, yeah. Do you guys agree with that? Yes or no? We'll be back on the air in a couple minutes. I took that break really, really late, but I want to remind you guys that if you're a Medicare recipient, you want to call Chapter. Chapter covers all 50 states. And, you know, if you think you're okay with your Medicare for next year, still give them a call. You're going to get a live agent on the phone. No matter what state you're in, you can call. And they'll review your policy. It's completely free help that you're going to get with your Medicare. There's no catches or gimmicks to that. And a lot of companies are pulling out of Medicare entirely all over the country. So you want to call Chapter and make sure that your policy is intact next year. They'll make sure you're not paying too much. The average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year. Give them a call. The number's right there on the screen, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. They can help you no matter what state you're in. If you're a Medicare recipient, it's open enrollment period. This is the only time of year that you can make changes to your Medicare policy. Once open enrollment is over and it's a short window, you're stuck. So give them a call, take advantage of that free help, and have them review your policy. Again, whatever state you're in, they can help you. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute, and I'll go to the phones. Okay. 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. That was some call, huh? Am I the only one that was shocked that a staff sergeant is earning $90K a year? Oh my goodness. I was shocked when he told me that. You know, when I get calls from active duty, I often ask them what they get paid, and that's a significant increase. I haven't had a call where I've asked somebody that in many years, and Those are those pay raises he got from President Trump that first round. I mean, that's pretty good. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Trump hired a child molester, Robert.
Yeah, well, there you go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi there. This is Diana from Brevard County.
Hey, Diana, what's up?
All right. So this is the first time that I've called since Charlie Kirk was assassinated.
Uh-huh.
Let me just say, I really haven't had anybody to talk to about this in real life, but I kind of felt like I was killed at the same time, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But this whole thing with Candace Owens and Jewish people and Charlie Kirk, I cannot even stand to look at Candace Owens and have not since shortly after October 7th,
Yes.
2023.
Yes.
And I listened to Brandon Tatum last night, and he made me feel better about this whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said, these people at Turning Point, they are betraying Charlie so bad by sending out these private texts.
Let me tell you why I was talking about this early on in the show. And my podcast yesterday, I went into a lot of detail. So if you guys...
I watched it.
Catch it. Here's the thing, okay? Obviously, I always credited Charlie Kirk for the great work he was doing. This before he was killed. Okay, assassinated. I always credited him for the great work he was doing, turning the youth into Republicans, right? He made MAGA cool, and what he did is, I talk about this a lot. I didn't always agree with him, and I didn't listen to his show all that much. But the reason that I'm talking about this now, I don't subscribe to Candace Owens' theory that Mossad killed him. I still stand by my original theory that he was killed by the same people that shot the president in Butler. And they did it to stop his movement. And they've been effective in doing that. Candace Owens is helping the assassins get away with what they were trying to do, as are people at Turning Point. Because what's going on at Turning Point USA, there's the way I would describe it, palace intrigue. I don't believe Erica Kirk is really going to be leading Turning Point. I think she's going to end up, at best, being a figurehead. And I've heard the president and J.D. Vance and Susie Wiles talk about them taking over Turning Point, but a little more behind the scenes. There's a lot of people now, like his producer and other friends that were talking yesterday, that confirmed the Candace Owens text. Message is legit. They're trying to hold on to their jobs. And Turning Point's being destroyed by Candace Owens and people inside Turning Point right now. You're right. Yeah.
No,
and it's terrible. We need them.
Your podcast yesterday, that was pretty much spot on with everything. Yeah. I don't always agree with everything with you, but I thought that was excellent analysis. And Turning Point, I'm pretty much done with them as an organization, not what they stand for, but as an organization, I'm sick of them.
Well, here's the thing. There's a bunch of people, there's people, there's a lot of money involved. And it was the question is Turning Point going to last, or was it a personality-driven thing that's going to evaporate? And what I see it is fading away. And
I do too.
There's a handful of people that could step in and keep it going, none of which are going to do it. Vivek Ramaswamy, he's running for governor of Ohio, Vivek Ramaswamy could be one of those people. Don Jr., Laura Loomer. There's a handful of people, but there's never going to be another Charlie Kirk. And can this organization survive without? Now, if Candace Owens had not gotten weird and done the things she did, she'd be the front person right now, and things would be fine. If she never left Turning Point, things would be fine. But she left, and she went crazy and supports and says stupid things all the time. So, if she comes back to Turning Point, that'll be another nail in the coffin of Turning Point.
Also, I've seen some clips with Tucker Carlson on how he has changed in regards to Israel and Muslims between 2017 and this year. And, so Laura Loomer, I think she's right on with that.
She's always right. Loomer's always right.
And I will say, I don't know if you remember this, but I would say closer to the beginning of the year, Tucker and Candace were supposed to do an appearance in something that Don Jr. or Eric had organized.
Yeah.
And Candace got kicked out.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, because of her anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial. You know, you can't,
right.
And I believe probably, because Tucker was going to all these Turning Point events, I think Tucker Carlson was working on Charlie Kirk to turn him to the Muslim side of things.
Yeah, and so also the problem here that a lot of people have with J.D. Vance, who are Jewish, I'm Christian, but I mostly run in Jewish circles on X, is that Tucker Carlson's son is an intern for J.D. Vance.
Yes, that is true.
So when this stuff was coming up with Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk earlier in the year, I was very upset. And a lot of my Jewish friends, I will say on X, they said, well, you got to slow down. Charlie has been great for Israel. So
no, he was obviously turning his position, at least so far as current policy in this war. Listen, I got to run for the break, but I appreciate the call, and it's okay not to agree with me.
Okay. Have a good one.
All right, take care. You just got to always agree with Trump, okay? But you don't have to always agree with me. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go back to the calls after the break. I want to talk about the Sloman Shield. Yeah, the Sloman Shield link is absolutely amazing, okay? It's an all-in-one ecosystem that integrates all the smart devices in your home with your Sloman's Shield. It takes your everyday routines and actions and connects all your devices to react based on what you want in your home. You come home at night, your lights are on. Your favorite music and TV turns on as you enter your home. The Shield Link connects on almost any scenario and creates scenes based on what you want to happen. Whether you want your thermostat to turn down when you turn on your alarm or automatically lock your doors to make sure your security lighting is on, it can do all these things and much, much more. On top of that, the Sloman Shield Link is compatible with the devices you already have in your home. All right, so you don't have to go out and buy a bunch of new devices. Works on what you already got. Sloman's includes installation for all your devices, plus they offer 24/7 support. So whether you need to troubleshoot a problem or want to add some programming, you can call them anytime, day or night, 7 days a week. Give them a call right now, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. We'll be right back. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the calls after the break, okay? And you're welcome to call in about anything I've brought up so far. Okay. Let's see. We'll be back in a couple minutes, guys. All right, we'll be back in less than a minute, and I will go to the phones, okay? Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Sorry, I went long with that staff sergeant before the bottom of the hour break, so I'm backed up on breaks. But after this segment, we'll be on schedule for the rest of the program. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, we covered a lot on the program today, so you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Name's Alex. I'm calling from Hawaii.
All right, Hawaii.
So, I don't know. I'm calling because, it seems like,
there we go.
Hegseth's getting a lot of backlash for the things that he's doing right now. And it seems crazy to me that now at this time when, things are going better than they have in the last, 10 years, and we've had such improvements, that the left is now deciding that they're going to use him as their ultimate target,
Well, they don't, he is, what they don't like about him is he's not an insider, right? Usually people that rise to these levels of cabinet secretaries are in bed with the donors, and he's not in bed with the military-industrial complex, so he's not making decisions based on what the politicians in the military-industrial complex want, and they don't like that. Plus, he's going against all the social justice warriors. We don't have any more transgender generals or admirals or military people at all.
Well, Steve, that's a big one because, so I'm not going to get too into the nitty-gritty. I work for a 3-letter agency, right? And I've worked for them for a while. Coming into work, I shit you not.
Okay, no profanity. There we go. Second dump of the day. Second dump of the day. Oh, man, I tell you, we were going so well. It's not even 7 a.m. and we've had to use the dump button twice today. I tell you, today is a weird day. Last night, one of my cats scratched me, and I'm telling you this because I want to ask you a question at the end, okay? This is relevant. But I have 4 cats. 3 are my wife and mine, and one is one of my daughter's cats, And she's got a great cat. I love this cat. And he's the biggest cat I've ever had. He's about the size... I've had dogs that are smaller than this cat. He's a big, big guy. And he's a big baby, a gentle giant. And my wife and I, we were going to bed last night, and I was getting ready to fall asleep, and he jumped up on the bed, and I picked him up to hold him. And he didn't mean to, but he scratched me in my eye, in my left eye. He actually scratched me in my eye. And it hurt like a son of a gun. And it felt like I had a rock in my eye. Not a pebble, but a grain of sand, like a rock. And, so what do you think I did? And I woke up in pain today. What do you think I did? Now you guys know I do not have health insurance, right? So what do you think I did? My wife, she went and got some saline out of the medicine cabinet and came and washed my eye out. And he scratched me on my face a little bit, but he actually got me on the white part of my eye. And it felt a little better, but it still hurt. And I said, I'm going to go to sleep. I can, I got all these My Pillows and My Pillow sheets and mattress toppers and everything, so I can go to sleep on a dime. I don't care. I'm in massive pain in my eye, and I fell asleep in seconds. I said, I'm going to go to sleep, and hopefully when I wake up in the morning, it'll feel better. So I woke up this morning like I always do, and I was in massive pain, right, in my eye. So what do you think I did? I mean, I'm in massive pain. What do you think I did? What would you do? I went online and I did some Google search on what I could do, and it said go to the emergency room. Go to the emergency room and seek treatment. Well, I don't have insurance. If I go to the emergency room, it's gonna cost thousands of dollars. And I'm like, no way. I'm not gonna go to the emergency room. So I went in the kitchen, and we've got a bunch of distilled water in the house and such. You know, we got all our hurricane prep materials, and I took a gallon of distilled water from our hurricane supplies, and I went and got this big Tupperware bowl that we have, and I poured the water in the bowl, all right, the distilled water. You don't want to do this with tap water. I poured the gallon of distilled water into this big Tupperware bowl. I did this like right before I went on, when I got up this morning, before the show. And I put my face with my eyes open in the water and kept my eyes in there as long as I could. And then I took them out, took a towel, dried off, and I've got a little bit of discomfort, but the pain is pretty much gone. The pain's pretty much gone. I can still feel a little bit of discomfort, but it's pretty much gone. Now, if I were an illegal Mexican in Southern California or Chicago, what would I have done? Right? What would I have done? You know, I could have gone to the emergency room. There's hospitals all over the place. There's those hospital ER standalone retail places they have. I could have gone to the emergency room this morning. In fact, because of the hour and I was up so early, I probably could have gone and gotten treated before I even had to be on the air. May not have even been late for the show. But what would it have cost? If I would have gone to the emergency... Now, today it cost me a gallon of distilled water, which is like $1.25 or something. I don't know what distilled water costs. But it cost me a gallon of distilled water. If I would have gone to the ER like an illegal Mexican or Venezuelan, it would have cost $2,000 minimum. They would have had to bring in a specialist. They might have wanted to take something out of my eye. They certainly would have wanted to do some ocular scans and all this stuff. It would have been $2,000 to $6,000 easily if I went to the ER, as opposed to $2 with the distilled water. Now, why did I use the distilled water in the Tupperware bowl and the illegal Mexican goes to the ER and racks up thousands of dollars? You know why? Because I'd have to pay for it. They wouldn't. That's right. Well, I guess I still have to pay for it. So would you. And they'd get them on some fraudulent Medicaid or something like that. They'd have to treat them. It would be considered an emergency. You know, you go to an emergency room, they're legally obligated to treat you. And that's what the Democrats are fighting for people that are illegal to use hospital emergency rooms as free clinics and rack up thousands and thousands of dollars in bills. But normal people like you or I don't go. You know, in fact, even if I had health insurance, there's a good chance I might not have gone because I'd have some kind of deductible maybe for that visit. But soaking my eye in the distilled water in the oversized Tupperware bowl seems to have done the trick. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We're coming up on our top of the hour break. So I don't have time to take a call, but I'll go to the phones after the break. My name's Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I want to remind you, Friendly Tire in Margate, you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire on common sizes on some of the most common vehicles on the road today. Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or even dispose of your old tires. He also has thousands of good used tires in stock and does tire repairs. Give Friendly Tire a call. Friendly Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. For Friendly Tire, give them a call. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be back right after this. Now, I don't know if you can see. Let me go look in the mirror. Hold on. Yeah, my eye's not even red now. It's not even red. So that's good. Now, I want to remind you guys, I had my meeting at the end of last week with Mike Lindell's people at MyPillow, and thank you so much for your support that they're going to continue sponsoring the expansion of the program. So keep going to mypillow.com and using our promo code Kane at checkout, KANE. For them to keep supporting the expansion, the early show, my afternoon show, and the weekend shows, you gotta support them. So go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, KANE. If you're watching with the green screen behind you, go to my main stream. The link is in the description. And you'll go to my main stream and see and hear all the videos I'm sharing. Yeah, all right. Yeah, we'll be back shortly. We got about 2 minutes and we'll be back on the radio. I'll go to the phones when we get back from the break. If you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you want to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat. It's toll free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. And if you're watching on the live stream with the green behind me, if you go to my main stream, you can see and hear all the audio and video that I play. And the link to the main stream is in the description of the video if you're watching with the green behind me. All right? And callers on hold, stand by. And no profanity, okay? We're on the radio. Okay, so we'll be back in just over a minute. I got to get my stuff together for the next hour. There it is. Okay. I got to read over some of this new commercial copy I have. Okay. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back in about 20 seconds. We are back. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. So I guess the question is, what would an illegal Mexican have done? Right? Oh my goodness. All right, let's go to the phones right now. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm from New York.
Hey, New York.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. One of your callers earlier said that that Candace Owens stated that Israel had Charlie Kirk,
Mossad. Mossad.
Yeah. And that's incorrect. She never said that.
I was left with the impression she did following her, but,
No, No, she never said that. No. She just said that Charlie had different feelings about what was going on with the government.
Hold on, I've been following this quite a bit. She has certainly implied that it's possible that the Israelis had him assassinated because he was going to turn his support away from Israel.
It's possible, Brian.
She has talked about that. Come on.
Yeah, well, Israel has committed some stuff against the U.S. Before. And let's not forget about Benjamin Netanyahu. After 9/11, he stated, and it was on video, that when the night 9/11 happened, they said, good. He said, good. He was quoted on a video call.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
Now America knows how we feel.
I haven't seen that. Well, that's... Hold on a second here. Okay, that's familiar. It's been a long time, but I do remember that. Okay, that's out of context. Your context is through the lens of your hatred of Israel and Jews, which you'll deny. But that's the context that you heard that from.
My mother's side has Jewish in her, I guess I hate myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if
so that means that if your mother's a Jew, you're a Jew. So you're a Jew.
The actor John Wayne, John Wayne, he said that they all want us to feel guilty about the past, and he's exactly right.
Yes, that's true. That's true. People want you to feel guilty about the past.
Have a good day. If you think I hate Jews, fine. Have a good day. God bless.
Just because you're not aware that you hate Jews doesn't mean that you don't. He hung up on himself, I guess, he can't. He's got his mother has Jewish in her. He said. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
I'm glad you brought up that thing about your eye. Just interesting. Yesterday, I just talked to somebody who knows somebody that works for the government, and they're cutting in Florida. They're cutting out all these illegals getting this free health care. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what's going to happen if an illegal comes into the hospital and needs something. They'll probably give them a phony name.
Well, no, they're still obligated. If somebody comes into an emergency room, they're legally obligated to treat you, at least to a, they can't deny you treatment. But the difference is the federal government's not going to be paying for it anymore. So, I remember once my wife had a doctor. This was years ago. Had a doctor that was based out of Cleveland Clinic. And we had to go to the emergency room. She had an issue. So we went to the emergency room at Cleveland Clinic and the one in Weston. This was many years ago. This was like 15 years ago, maybe even more. And I saw something I had never seen. Somebody came in, they had no insurance, and they said, and I heard, and we were in the waiting room, and somebody from billing said, well, how are you planning on paying for this? And they told, now again, I don't know if they would do this still today, but I heard this conversation. They said, you got to go to the whatever hospital nearby, and I was like, wow, I've never heard that before. How are you planning on paying for this? They don't typically care. But the difference is the federal government's not going to be paying these hospitals and these companies for treating the illegals anymore.
Well, I think what's going to happen eventually is once the hospital gets stuck not getting paid, they'll stop seeing customers.
If my eye, I still have discomfort in my eye. I'm not cured with my distilled water. I got a scratch on my eye, but I've treated myself fine. If it gets worse, and the cat's nails are filled with God only knows what that I've cleaned out with the saline last night and the distilled water this morning. But if my eye started showing signs of something, I'd go to the emergency room and I'd get a bill. And then I'd have to call them and negotiate it down and everything else, But I want to avoid all that. If in the old days, people didn't run to the emergency room like they do now.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody today figures, I'll go to the doctor. 90% of the time you don't need to go to the doctor, and if you go, it wastes your time.
So if I was an illegal Mexican, do you think I would have put my eyes in the distilled water and the oversized Tupperware bowl, or would I've gone to the ER for free?
You would have went to ER for free for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, that's the society we have.
Or if I was poor. You see, if you're poor, what are they going to take from you? They can't. What are they going to? So if you go to if you're poor and you're an American and you have no insurance and you go to the hospital, they're going to treat you for everything because and you don't care because what are they going to do? You don't have a house. You don't have anything for them to sue for. Right. You know what I mean? They can put a lien on your house if you're a renter. So it's working people, middle class people. We're the ones that have it worse off. Not the illegals, not the poor. They're all taken care of.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But this is the society we have, and
but
I don't want.
But Doug, I could afford to go to a walk-in emergency room or one of those walk-in clinics today. Yeah. But why do I want to pay for that? I'm going to Halloween Horror Nights in a couple weeks. I want to get a nice hotel room. I'd rather get the nice hotel room at Halloween Horror Nights than go to the walk-in clinic and pay for it. Right? You know what I mean?
It wouldn't be so bad either. But the damn prices that they charge are ridiculous.
It's just called being. It's like anything else. You're smart with how you spend your money.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
They want to open. Have a go, man.
All right, take care, Doug. Yeah, exactly. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I have to say a few things here, and I hope you give me a chance.
Oh boy, here we go. Yes.
Yeah, because Candace Owens, it has to do with Tucker Carlson, it has to do with President Trump, has to do with you, has to do with the way people think. Now, here's my opinion, and it's only my opinion. We look at this. First of all, Israel wants to survive. That's their whole purpose is to survive. Netanyahu is the leader of Israel at this time. His government. They are over there and they know what they're up against. Now, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. Now, people have said this war has gone on too long. President Trump, I believe, hates war. Doesn't want to see kids killed. Doesn't want to see anybody killed. So I agree what he's thinking. Okay, but Netanyahu is a realist, and he's sitting there. First of all, money controls influence. I might be jumping around, but in other words, Arab money, I think, has turned the Democratic Party and under Obama and then under Biden against Israel.
Yes.
A lot of politicians receive a lot of money from the Arab countries.
Correct.
Okay? Now Israel has to counter that with their money. So it's a money issue.
Don't misunderstand. I am so pro-Israel, Richie. But I'll tell you, back when Time Magazine was, I'm going to play a couple of clips coming up of Matt Gaetz, who said some crazy things about AIPAC when he was in Congress. I'm gonna got two clips. I'm gonna cue them up later. If you're not seeing them, they're pretty shocking. I'm a strong supporter of Israel, and I always will be. But there's, back in the days when Time Magazine was a thing, I don't even know if it exists anymore. They used to say, remember how they used to put the bull on the cover when the stock market was taken off? And a lot of people would say the first sign of the end of a bull market is when the bull is on the cover of Time Magazine. Well, when there's a war going on that's been going on long enough for them to make movies and television shows about it, it's probably been going on too long. And I saw yesterday on Apple TV, I watched the first episode. There's an Israeli series available on Apple TV about the October 7th attack. I watched the first episode. It's pretty brutal. And it's not a documentary. It's a scripted drama with actors. Okay, it's on Apple TV, right? I cannot remember the name of it, but if you pull up Apple TV, I'm sure it's the first thing recommended up there, one of the first couple things. And the problem with Netanyahu is in my view, and from my perspective, he had the entire world's support behind him after October 7th, and that's very unusual for Israel to have.
Time out.
And he's taken too long to wrap this up.
No, time out. He took too long only because the Biden administration had him handcuffed and had him threatened. And since Trump is in there, he's only in there.
But it doesn't matter why. But that's where we are right now.
But the world, well, that was the money and the influence and the marches. All that money from the Arab countries are being dumped into these marches. Listen, there's a lot of Jews that don't like Israel too. But what I'm trying to explain to you is I personally think this is the worst thing that could happen to Israel. What this deal with President Trump, and you might not agree with me, it's going to stop it for a temporary time. Do you know that they were in England on the 7th of October, this just anniversary? There was a giant celebration and a giant
in New
march
York
in
too.
London.
I saw it in New York yesterday too.
So you think by stopping now that as soon as Trump is gone, here we go again?
No, what I'm telling you is Netanyahu is so. He's drawn this out so long, and it doesn't matter if it's Biden.
He had to.
Hold on, Richie.
He had to.
Okay, it doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't matter why it happened, and Zohan and Netanyahu's causing a lot of problems in this MAGA divide over Israel is because of Netanyahu. Zohan's extreme popularity in this New York's mayor's race is in large part because of Netanyahu's unpopularity.
I don't agree with that. I think it's the money that with these politicians, including the Republican Party, the support of these candidates. Where do you think a lot? And it's between the Arab money and the Israeli money. They're all these guys are bought off.
Okay, listen, Richie, I'm late for the break, but I appreciate the call. All right, you hang in there. Now, when we get back, I'm going to share 2 clips of Matt Gaetz you got to believe Matt Gaetz, right? I mean, you believe Matt Gaetz. We all trust Matt Gaetz. He dropped 2 big things that one of them is so outrageous. Nobody could make this up. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to ask you this. Do you or someone you know suffer from neuropathy? Then listen up. You know, you might have neuropathy and not even know it. Do you have numbness, pain, burning, tingling in your hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, muscle twitching? You getting dizzy, falling down all the time? Do you have the feeling of pins and needles in your hands and feet? Maybe you have no feeling at all. These are just some of the symptoms of neuropathy. If you have any of those symptoms, you may have neuropathy. Call Lighthouse Medical. They'll examine you, let you know if you have neuropathy. If you have neuropathy, definitely call them today. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. You can take advantage of that no-charge consultation. Lighthouse Medical has a treatment for neuropathy that works, and a treatment that lasts. Steve Kane had every neuropathy symptom in the medical journals. They rid him of all of them. He saw relief the next day. And over 3 years have passed, and his neuropathy has not returned. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. With telemedicine and everything, you don't have to be in person for them to treat you for your neuropathy. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. lighthousemedicalcenter.com. We'll be right back. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. All right. Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. We'll be back shortly. Okay. We'll be back in 1 minute. And then when we get back, I'm going to share these clips of Matt Gaetz. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the number's toll free. The number is pinned in the live stream. All right. Sorry, guys. I was answering some text and DMs. If you're watching with the green screen behind me, if you go to my main stream, you can see and hear all the audio and video clips that I play and see all the visuals. The link to my main stream is in the description of the video. We got a little more than 30 seconds and we'll be back. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. Welcome, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We are back on this Wednesday morning. Can you believe it already? Holy smokes. If you'd like to call in, I've covered a lot. The number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. Okay, so Matt Gaetz was a guest on Tim Pool's show yesterday. And, you know, with all this stuff coming out about Charlie Kirk's text messages, losing a $2 million a month donor who's Jewish because he was having Tucker speak at his events. And there's Marjorie Taylor Greene's been talking a lot about AIPAC, which is the Jewish lobby. I want to play this for you guys. This is Matt Gaetz, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. I got two clips. The first one's the more shocking. You're supposed to do it in reverse order, but I want to play the first one first. The more shocking one first. He says something that's kind of crazy. Let me play. This is Matt Gaetz yesterday. Listen, and he's talking about when he was in Congress and AIPAC. Listen. Oh my goodness. That's crazy. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so yeah, the second part was that. That was one full clip. So I don't have a second clip. That audio clip was both clips put together. But this idea of sitting members of the United States Congress walking around with a QR code for donors like that, it's pretty humiliating. I would not approve of that. I've never heard that before. And if I heard that from somebody else, I might not believe it. But I trust Matt Gaetz. That is crazy. And that's not the way things should be. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right, you missed out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. Once, twice. All right, you missed your chance, but that's okay. We're coming up on our bottom of the hour break because I went long in the first segment. So if you're on hold, hang in there. I'll try one more. Oh, no. All right. Hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. My name is Lisa. I'm from Novi City, formerly known as New York City.
Okay.
And I just was calling in.
Well, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
I wanted to say, I appreciate the great humor. Being a Republican since I was 18 years old and being American as well as a native New Yorker, to watch the foreign takeover of this country over the years has been a true disappointment. And I'm glad finally someone is interpreting our POTUS, meaning I love our POTUS. I'm glad he is in the office interpreting our founding documents as well as the amendments to our founding documents that state as such what they state, and getting rid of these people emotionally interpreting how they feel it should mean. So I want to thank our POTUS. I want to say it's a tragedy that our soldiers are right now without money, and that many of our hardworking, true federal employees that deserve their money are working hard without pay due to a $1.5 trillion agenda to fund the pockets.
Let me ask you that. Let's be a little more, since you're calling me from New York, and I am up against the break, but everyone's saying that Mom Donnie's going to win. I mean, how do you feel about that as a New Yorker?
As I said, I am going to go with the transition, and I have another question because Mondani is going to win. Can I still be MAGA and wear a hijab? Because I know I'm going to have to change things.
Well, I know you're laughing. I mean, I don't know how much of his victory is because people have given up, or if he's really that popular among the electorate. I don't know. But I'm assuming, were you in New York on 9/11?
No, actually, I was living in Oklahoma. I had moved out of New York due to the crack epidemic.
Well, you're back now. And I have not heard anyone ask Zohan Mamdani if he condemns 9/11. I've heard them. I know he's refused to condemn the Intifada. Anytime I talk to a New Yorker, I bring this up.
As well as that Sharia law stuff. He's refused to denounce Sharia law.
Well, I think if somebody asked him...
spoke about the global Intifada.
Well, if somebody... hold on a second. Hold on a second. Global Intifada and Sharia law is kind of... I believe that if somebody in public asked him to condemn 9/11, I think he would pause before he even answered. So you understand what I mean?
I believe you're right. I do. And I believe you're right because he paused when he was asked would he renounce or denounce Sharia law.
Yeah.
So I again agree with you, the global Intifada, which is why I have
9/11 was a long time ago. 9/11 was a long time ago, but there's still a lot of New Yorkers who remember it.
We had an anniversary last month. It's never over here.
No.
The sympathy.
And that's the only that's the only thing that could turn the tide against this guy. Where are the 9/11 families? Where come on.
Right. But again, 9/11 has become a tourist trap. Most of those people, because of the pain and anguish and the changes in New York City with the foreigner takeover of our states and cities, people not voting and their local elections, only waiting 4 years.
Listen, I'm late for the break. I got to run, but call me again sometime. You're a good caller. Take care. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. I'm very late for the break. I'll take a call during the break, though. Hold on, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Dave from Detroit, and I just want to talk about how stupid Bondi looked yesterday. What a retard she is. She's just a dumb bimbo.
Mm. Can you give me an example of the moment where she looked the dumbest?
Not answering questions asked by senators.
What question?
To that, blah, 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 I'm a dumb drunk.
She looks stupid. She actually said that. She said she's a dumb drunk. She said that. That would be pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I missed that from the news. I didn't ask you for a hallucination. I asked you for something that she really said.
In between the Cheeto dust in her throat, she should quit swallowing Trump before she goes on for hearings like that.
What is wrong with you? Do you listen to yourself? You're a grown man. You're a grown man. Why would you talk that way about someone?
She's a dumb Trump. She's a dumb tramp.
Why do you say such crude things about someone?
Don't like the truth. You don't like the truth, do you?
I didn't ask you about what was true or not true. What kind of adult man talks that way? What kind of person are you?
I'll talk any way I want. That's
I understand, but think about it. Think about it. Why do you use such crude language about a woman? Does it make you feel good?
Whatever I want. It's America, is it not?
I didn't say that you couldn't say it. I'm asking you why you use such crude sexual terminology. Do you enjoy talking dirty or something?
Nothing. Hey, I have a bit of advice for the
you are a classless. You're a class. All right, thank you for your call. You're a classless mental case. Classless mental case. That's what he is, right? I mean, come on. Gee whiz. No need for that. No need for that at all. Now, if you are a Medicare recipient, we are in Medicare open enrollment period, which is the only time of year that you can make changes to your existing Medicare policy. Call Chapter. They're going to review your policy for free. Doesn't cost you anything. No catches, no gimmicks. They'll review your policy for free. Chapter covers all 50 states, so no matter where you're located, they can help you with your Medicare. They'll review your policy at no charge, making sure you're not paying too much. The average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year on their Medicare. And since they cover all 50 states, they have access to all the over 24,000 Medicare policies out there. They'll make sure that you are in the right policy, all right? So give them a call, 805-754-3033. And if you're happy with your Medicare, still call them. A lot of companies are pulling out of Medicare altogether, all over the United States. So they'll make sure you're okay for next year. They'll also make sure that your prescriptions and doctors are covered and that you're getting all the benefits that you're entitled to through Medicare. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. A lot's happening. I want to cover a couple things. I was talking to the lady from New York. I'm done trying to help people in New York. Any time I get a New Yorker on the line. You know, we have a lot of listeners in New York that listen to us online, a lot. Outside of Florida, the number 2 market that listen to this program online is New York City, which is amazing to me because New York City is the number 1 radio market in the United States. And when you guys are tuned in to us, instead of all these so-called big shots in New York City, that always makes me feel good. But that's our number 2 market, listener-wise, is New York City. And when I have somebody who's a New Yorker currently, I'm not talking about a transplant, I always talk to, and they've all given up. They've all given up. You're the last caller. She sounded like she's given up. Doesn't she sound like she's given up? You know, and what more can I say? I do bring up that condemning 9/11 question to pretty much every New Yorker that calls, because I'm hoping they'll start asking that of their friends, and someone will ask Zohan. I don't think he'll condemn 9/11. I don't think he would if he were asked. I really don't. I saw Governor Cuomo the other day. He's talking, well, if Zohan wins, Trump's going to do the Trump. He's making Trump the bad guy. Is he drunk? Governor Cuomo, he's as useless. He has as much chance as Curtis Sliwa to win. And Zohan is not winning because he's popular. He's winning because New York has given up. I mean, you know, where's that spirit? You know, that New Yorkers used to have to stand up. And it's not just that they've all left. No, it's still a very populated city. All right, let's take some calls. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Listen, hey, a few items. Number one, I'm going to give you a solid piece of advice because, first of all, with regard to your health insurance, I don't know if you're an S Corp, LLC, or if you're not, get it, then you can write your insurance off as a deduction on your taxes and not brag about, I stick my head in water, not ordinary water, but purified water.
Distilled
and
water. It was
I'm
distilled
healed.
water.
I'm healed.
It's distilled water.
It doesn't matter what type. But guess what? I once scratched my cornea sleeping, and I didn't go to the ER, Brian. Where do you think I went?
I don't know.
To an ophthalmologist.
Okay.
I made an appointment. Within a couple of hours, I saw it. I scratched cornea. They stabilized it, put a patch, and in a few days, I was better. You don't rush off to the emergency room. If you have insurance, you can go see a doctor.
It's not so easy to get into an ophthalmologist for an emergency.
I did it within a couple of hours.
You're my hero. You're the greatest. You're the greatest.
No, I'm not saying I'm greatest.
How much can you bench press? I'm sure you can bench press.
But you know what? Continue bragging about. But you can write off your health insurance.
Here's the thing, Greg. First off, I'm not going to tell you what my finances are and stuff like. You're always trying to get information out of people, but
I don't want information for you.
You always do. You always do. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Even if I had insurance, I would have done the same thing.
Well, that's retarded because your eyes are very sensitive, Yes, listen, let me finish my sentence now. Your eyes are very delicate. If you damage them, it could be life-altering.
You know,
and you're like, well, I'm going to stick my head in Tupperware.
Once when I was a kid, okay, when I was, I don't know, when I was about 11 or 12, I was water skiing in the Kissimmee River at the mouth of Lake Okeechobee. And my dad, we used to go water skiing every weekend. My dad had a bass boat. We'd go water skiing. And it's really not the best place to water ski because there's a lot of gators in those waters. You know, every once in a while you'd hit a gator, you'd feel a bump in the water. Smart. That was a gator. You know, but we were out there and there's and all that stuff. But anyway, it was some of the best times of my life, water skiing and all that stuff. But anyway, we pull up to the bank and we had a little cookout, a little get together with all the skiers and everything. And I stepped on a catfish bone. I was about between 10 and 12. I stepped on a catfish bone. The bone went completely through my foot and was sticking out of the top of my foot. And I fell down on the ground, I'm sure crying in pain. I was a kid. And there were a couple of ladies there that were nursing me. What do you think I did? What do you think happened?
Well, if you were with your father, he should have brought you to the hospital.
No, my dad didn't bring me to the hospital.
guess what?
These two. I'll tell you what happened.
Wait, let me finish. You asked me your question.
I'm not done. You can call my dad neglectful when I'm done. Okay.
It's poor parenting.
Yeah, you can wait till I'm done to call him child neglect. So there's these two or three ladies. It's been a long time, guys. You know, it was between 10 and 12 years. So I can't remember the exact number of people, but there were these women, and one of them was kind of tugging on the bone. And every time she tugged on it, I screamed more. My dad comes over. He says, "What the heck is going on?" He saw, and I said, Dad, I said, "Don't take me to the." He reached down. He pulled the bone right out of my foot. He pulled the bone right, and it was sticking through the top of my foot. It went through my foot completely. I guess it went through the bones of my toes, and then that was it. Nothing. Washed it out with some peroxide from the first aid kit.
All right. Well, I don't know the relevance of that
and I was back out on the wall. I'm telling you. I'll tell you in a minute. And put some peroxide on it from the first aid kit.
Brian,
and then I went out and was water skiing again 10 minutes later. And that's the way things used to be. Now, what happens? We have a nation of wimps who go to the emergency room, go to specialists, go to the hospital, go to, like you, the ophthalmologist. We used to take care of things ourselves, you know, instead of racking up thousands of dollars in medical bills.
Listen,
right,
and you're right. I'm not gonna question. You know where I could go with this.
That's what real men do.
Right. You know what grown men do? They take care of the problem
to the emergency room
Wait, let me finish. You don't let me. You never let me finish a sentence. You let.
All right. Tell me what a pansy would do.
Not what a pansy. If that was my son, I would take him into a hospital, get it treated properly, and ensure. What happens if you got an infection and you had gangrene?
I did another thing when I was a kid. I was a.
What do you think of my thought? Wait, let's get back to the initial comment. What do you think of my thought about
another thing I did? I was in. Were you ever in Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts?
Boy Scouts, but I didn't like it.
Really, you were in Boy Scouts? Really?
Yeah.
You went? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like sports better. I actually played sports.
I was in Cub Scouts.
Unlike you.
You know what do you know what a Weeblo is?
I told you I didn't even do Cub Scouts, really. I did.
If you were a Boy Scout, you would know what a Weeblo was. You sure you were a Boy Scout?
I told you. Well, listen, why would I lie about that? I told you I didn't enjoy it. I probably did it for a year, and I told my mother,
so anyway,
I want to play, you know what I wanted to do?
I don't care. I don't care what you wanted to do.
Nobody cares. I wanted to play football like a real man.
I know, like a real man.
Not do my little campfires. I know, like campfire.
So in Cub Scouts.
I know. You were too small to play sports.
In Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts and Weeblos is between Cub and the brown shirts. It's called We Be Loyal Scouts, combined to form Weeblo. You know, we used to do those races with the little cars. You get a block of wood, and you and your parents would make it into a car.
What's the relevance? What's the relevance?
Well, if you would stop.
What's the relevance of this whole story?
There's all kinds of. The relevance is between real men and wimps that we have. So what you did, you got this block of wood that they gave you, and you and your parents would turn it into a small car.
Brian, please, come on. This is boring. Come on, please, let's move forward. This is boring your audience and myself.
No, I know where I'm going. I know where I'm going. So you would take this block of wood and you would saw it and turn it into a car. Well, I decided I was going to do that on my own with my cousins. And you use a jigsaw. So I went out and my grandparents. My grandfather had like this work shed. We went out and me and my cousins were all about 10, and we turned the jigsaw. It's a tabletop jigsaw.
Brian, I'm hanging up.
No, I'm hanging up on you. Goodbye. And to make the car, my hand slipped, and one of my fingers, I still got a mark on it, slipped and went right into the jigsaw. Yeah, the Pinewood Derby cars. My finger went right into the jigsaw, about halfway through my fingernail part of my finger, cut through not just the skin, cut through the bone, about halfway up my fingernail. You could, and it didn't hurt at first because it happened so quick. And I looked at my finger and I opened it up and I could see all the way down through my finger. So it was at my grandparents' house. My grandparents were retired. My grandmother was a retired RN. She worked in a burn unit at a hospital in Columbus, Ohio. And me and my cousins, we run into the house. Grandma, Grandpa, I just cut my finger on the saw. My grandfather, he says, what the hell are you doing using the saw? And I said, Grandpa, look. And he looked and he saw what happened and he got my grandmother. You know what my grandmother did? She went and got some peroxide and then she went and got some bandages and bandaged it up. And I never went to the hospital. Never went to the hospital. And it went all the way through the bone, halfway up through my fingernail. I can still kind of see the line where it was if I look hard. It's on this finger right here, on my left hand. And I can still the only reason I can see the mark is because I know where it is. It healed up fine, halfway through the bone, part of where the fingernail is. She put some peroxide on it and wrapped it up with some bandages. I never went to the emergency room, never saw a doctor. Right? That's how things used to be. None of this running to the ER and specialists and surgeons and orthopedists and running up 30, 40,000. If I did that today and I went to the ER, what would the cost be at the ER? And they would have done the same thing Grandma did. Put some peroxide on it, wrap it up, right? And I'd had a tetanus before, so I didn't need another tetanus. I'd had one within the last 5 years at that point, so I didn't need another tetanus shot. That's all. That would have been it. But how much would that cost? If I went to the hospital today, how much would they bill insurance? And if I was an illegal Mexican, how much would they rack up for that? For that same thing that Grandma just put some peroxide on and some bandages and a Band-Aid. Yeah, that's the way it used to be. Now, if you're some liberal, you probably think I was an abused child. No, I was not an abused child. I was raised tough. That's how you used to raise kids. Not all this, not the Greg Two's pansy way of parenting. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll take our calls after the break. Oh, let me talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Oh, man. Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I was telling you guys, I was in church with my daughter on Sunday, and of all the guys sitting around me that were my age or a little younger, a little older, I was the only one with a flat stomach. The only one with a flat stomach. Those of you that saw me at Wings Plus on Inauguration Day, I am not the man I was, okay? I'm about half the man I was, literally. When I saw those pictures of me at Wings Plus on President Trump's second Inauguration Day, I was embarrassed at how I looked. That was the day, actually, before I went to Wings Plus, I went over to Coastal Weight Loss Secret for my consultation. I went from Coastal Weight Loss Secret to Wings Plus that day for the president's inauguration. And I've lost over 35 pounds since, many inches off my waist. I have a flat stomach. I'm at the weight I was when my wife and I got married 29 years ago. My results are typical. You can lose 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. It's easy. There's no drugs, no prescriptions, no shots, no injections. You don't starve yourself. I didn't even exercise. Give them a call and set up your free consultation. And remember, they can help you no matter where you are located. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, stand by. See, that's how it used to be, guys. Yeah, it's this one on my left finger. I can see the little bit of a line where the blade was. You won't even see it. It's been 40 years. It's been over 40. It's been like 43 years. But you can see a little bit of a line, but not really. I know because I remember it was my left finger. I can see the line right there. I am sure that you guys have experiences like that too growing up. That's right. Hold on. By the way, do you guys think Greg was a scout? I don't think so. I don't think so. First of all, who goes directly into the Boy Scouts? Right? Most people start as Bobcats or Cubs or maybe a Weeblo. I don't know too many guys that go in as a Boy Scout. I never made it to Boy Scouts. I didn't go. I got out before that. Before you're a Weeblo, and then you're a Scout. I can't remember what the age breakdown was. Weeblos are. How old are Weeblos? 11, 12? I can't remember. Okay, we got a couple minutes. I'm so late on the break. Steve is going to kick my butt. Yeah, I got another scar on my leg. I'll tell you that. I got another. I was, hey, just typical kid. You know? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to take the calls when we get back. Yeah, I got another injury once. This one, I remember this one too. I was about 13 or 14. I was taking out the garbage, plastic garbage bag. And I picked up the bag when I got outside, and there was the can, the top of a metal can, like a can of vegetables or something, was sticking out of the bag, gashed my leg open, side of my leg, right? Boom, gashed me open. My mom took some peroxide and put a Band-Aid on it. That's it. That's it. Don't run to the ER for this crap and rack up $5,000 to $10,000. Right? Exactly. And that's how it used to be. It's just not that way anymore. We got a bunch of wimps. Okay, we'll be back in about a minute. Yeah, we'll be back in just over a minute. We got a bunch of wimps today, right? If you're Gen X or older, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, that thing with the jigsaw might be a bit extreme, but it's still, I'm fine. I never used a jigsaw again, though, I'll tell you that. Never used a jigsaw. Ever. No, I never got stitches. I've never had stitches. Only bones I've ever broken are my toes. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Rebecca from Plantation.
Hey, Rebecca.
Brian, I've been listening. How are you? Listen, I've been listening to you for eons, and I'm not one to defend Candace Owens. I don't think you heard her show completely yesterday. She never had said that Mossad killed Charlie Kirk. She actually said yesterday that it was deep state. It was somebody in the government. Her issue, and please don't say she's wackadoodle, her issue is that the guy that they're saying that killed him is not the guy. There's too many things that don't add up, and a lot of people agree with her. So when you just do a broad brush and say she's wackadoodle, there is something there. So many people have said that things do not add up. The text messages, the fact that he was seen eating ice cream at Dairy Queen right after.
Listen, when the guy, that monster that shot up Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, do you remember where he went after he killed all those kids?
No, I don't.
He went to Subway at Walmart that's behind the school. There's a Subway inside the Walmart there. And then he went to the McDonald's. Okay?
Okay.
So when
right,
you got
so you make a point.
these psychopaths. Now, with that being said, I do believe it was a deep state government thing. I think the same people shot him that shot President Trump. The shooter did it, but he's
saying.
A patsy.
And that's what she's saying.
No,
that's what she's saying.
She's saying it now, but she's been implying Mossad.
Listen to her show.
She's been.
Well, no, there is connections to Mossad, but that's not what she's saying.
See, I was right.
Okay.
Mossad didn't have anything to do with that.
But you don't know that. You don't know that. There could be. But the question is, you need to question. The point is, question it. That was one of her most dearest person in her life. If you had listened to her show yesterday, and again, I'm not here to apologize for her. I just want you to know that there's more to the story than what everybody's been
one
saying.
of the things, I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example. One of the things she said yesterday is spot on. They had two guys to do diversions that claimed to be the shooter right after, right? To buy the patsy time to escape. The shooter was the shooter. This gay guy was the shooter, but he was a patsy for a deep conspiracy that he's not even aware of. And
a lot of people don't think he was the shooter. They don't. There's no question about it that he was there thinking he was the shooter, just like with Oswald.
He confessed to his dad. He confessed to his dad and surrendered himself.
No, the dad is saying no now.
Well, now he is.
It's not. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. I'm telling you. And what's bothering me the most is I am a huge Trump supporter. I'm like one of the biggest people down here that supports Trump.
Yeah.
And I just cannot believe that the FBI is hiding, is not telling the truth. And you know what? The boyfriend or the girlfriend, whatever, she believes because of different things that she's come across that he's probably working for the FBI. I'm serious.
Working for who?
Not FBI,
Working for who?
For the government.
No, listen.
For the government.
Listen.
He's disappeared.
Charlie.
He's disappeared.
Oh, you're talking about the transgender boyfriend?
Hold on a second. Yeah, they brought him in and then they let him go. And now he's disappeared. I'm telling you.
Well, just because we don't know. Hold on. Just because we don't know where he is doesn't mean that the government doesn't know where he is.
Because he's working for I'm telling you, there's something there. And
Listen. Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Hold on.
This is Trump's FBI.
Charlie Kirk was assassinated by the political establishment in the deep state in an effort for the Democrats to win the White House back. Or listen. They shot Trump in Butler.
100% agree.
They shot Trump in Butler, and the plan was to nominate Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, him at the bottom of the ticket, and her.
Yes, we heard all that before.
So that's all true.
Agree.
So what they assassinated Charlie Kirk to try to get an establishment person or a Democrat back in the White House. That's a fact.
Agreed.
Yeah, but the transgendered boyfriend, believe me, they know where he is. Just you and I don't. All right, hey, listen, I gotta run. Okay, let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Brian, the mask lady.
Louise, the mask lady. Yes.
Yes. Apropos of what you were saying about the emergency room and so on, what about, what's bothering me? The roller coaster guy. They're going to probably try to sue Universal. The guy who died after he got off the roller coaster.
Friday is open phones, Louise. I have no idea what you're talking about. It's on Friday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
By the political establishment.
You're on the air.
Hi.
Hey there. What's your name?
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Michelle?
Yeah, Michelle. What's on your mind?
I'm calling from Baltimore County, Maryland.
All right, Maryland. What's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind is you're absolutely right. The younger generation needs to toughen up a bit.
Wimps.
I once had one of those plastic toothpicks go through my foot right before I turned about 40 years old. And I didn't want to go to the emergency room because I wasn't going to sit there and wait in all this agony with this toothpick going through my foot. So I pretty much very strongly encouraged my daughter-in-law to grab a pair of pliers and pull it out. She's like, all right, we got it out now. So let's go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's
Why?
out. What do I got to go to the emergency room for?
Yeah. You know, one time I stapled two of my fingers together. I had a stepmother who was a school teacher when I was a kid, and I was hoping, and I stapled two fingers together. They pulled the staple out of my fingers. I didn't go to the emergency room, poured some peroxide on, gave me some Band-Aids. I stapled two fingers together. Today, it'd be a $10,000 bill at the ER. And that's what the illegals... And by the way, the reason we're talking about this is what the illegal Mexicans have been doing, using our ERs as free clinics for things that you don't need to go to the ER for. Exactly. Hey, listen, I got to run for the top of the hour. I appreciate the call. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this. It's true. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, these two... It had to be these. I was just stapled these two fingers together. Yeah. Yeah, you there? Nothing. I'll put you on hold. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. All right. You there, Steve?
I'm here.
All right.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're in break. We're in break.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah. Hold. I'm going to put you on hold for a second while I answer some calls. Hold on. No, what I was talking about a lot of things. What we were talking about at the end is the shutdown. With what that's what I was talking about.
Well, the shutdown is important. Yeah.
No, we were talking about. Were you listening?
I don't know what I've been listening to, but I've been listening.
I'll tell you what. We were talking about. The Democrats are. It started with Greg. The Democrats are. They got the government closed. Well, I'll tell you when we get back. Let me tell you when I get back, because that'll be more.
Okay.
I'll brief you.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh man.
Give me a good hook.
Okay. Got about 40 seconds. Oh, man. Okay. All right, the third hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Steve Kane's joining us, and you wondering what we've been talking about, because it was a little, I can see if you just...
I've been sort of wondering.
Yeah, okay, well, I'll explain, okay? We're talking... It started with Greg, too. We're talking about the government shutdown. And
yes,
I got a great call earlier in the show from an Air Force staff sergeant whose payday's coming up, and he's worried. Usually they get paid early. They do direct deposit. They get paid like early. So even though they usually get paid a week early, so we didn't get paid. And we learned something interesting. I was shocked. Do you know how much an Air Force staff sergeant's making a year?
How much?
What do you think? A staff sergeant, 4 stripes.
I don't know.
$90,000 a year. I was shocked.
I wasn't shocked. Why? They paid well in the military.
I didn't realize they paid so well. I didn't realize they paid. Staff sergeant's not that high. That's just 4 stripes, right?
Yeah, my son is in the Army, is the highest paid guy in the family.
Yeah, he's got a specialty, and he's an officer. So I didn't. But this guy's but he's an officer. This guy's enlisted, and I was surprised. But anyway, we were talking about the government shutdown. They're not supposed to get paid for a week. They get paid on in 7 days. But he was telling us that they usually get paid early on direct deposit. So now they're really not getting paid. They're normally getting paid right now. And Mike Johnson had a really good press conference. He said something about. He said, Chuck Schumer's been in Congress since I was in the 3rd grade. I couldn't believe it.
I know, I heard that.
And he's Speaker of the House of Representatives. That's crazy. Time to retire with your $80 million, Chuck Schumer. But anyway, they've shut down the government so that illegals can have their free health care. And they keep saying, well, they don't qualify for Medicaid. Well, they do. They go to the ER and they have to treat them. So we were just talking, I was just mentioning some things that wimps go to the ER and, basically we were playing a little game. What would an illegal Mexican do? And we were just talking about some things that illegal Mexicans and wimpy guys today go to the ER for that back in our day, we just toughened it up and, used some peroxide and Band-Aids.
The good old days,
The good old days. And we were, I was just sharing a few injuries that I had that you would go to the ER for today that, because I had an...
Okay,
that's
makes
what
sense.
we're talking about. What had happened is, Steve, last night, one of my cats scratched my eye, the white part of my eye, and it hurt like a second. And I went to bed, and I woke up this morning, and it hurt like hell. I mean, it felt like not a grain of sand, like I had a boulder in my eye. So what I did is I took a gallon jug of distilled water and poured it out into this big Tupperware bowl, and I put my face with my eyes open in the water, and opened up my eyes and washed, and I'm fine now. An illegal would go to the ER and rack up $10,000 in bills and scans and ophthalmologists.
Now it all makes sense.
Exactly. And I spent $1.
Now it all makes sense.
I spent $1 or $2 of distilled water to do what an illegal Mexican would spend $20,000 of our tax money for. That's what we were talking about.
What is the overnight status of the
government is still closed. And I was and this is I was seeing. I'm hoping. Did you see what the air traffic controllers are doing in California?
No.
They're walking off the job. At the Burbank Airport. Burbank Airport is the airport at Disneyland, and I believe Burbank is John Wayne Airport, and not LAX. They've walked off the job and turned tower controls over to LAX and other airports where they can't even see the freaking runways. And I was reading this morning that there were other air traffic controllers that are not reporting to work, causing delays because they're not getting paid. Well, I'm hoping that President Trump, because he remembers this, does what Reagan did and fire those guys. It
would be nice.
What are they doing? They're putting. I would not fly right now. And if these air traffic controllers are liberal activists and they're walking off the job when they're not going to get paid at home either, they're endangering the skies and endangering lives. They should all be fired. The Army has, and Air Force have air traffic controllers. Bring in the military.
It's strange. I'm wondering why Trump hasn't thought of that.
Maybe he has. He was talking yesterday, or maybe somebody's listening that can whisper this in his ear, But Reagan, he knows about Reagan firing the air traffic controllers, and there's a lot of news stories about these air traffic controllers walking off the job. And that was a big deal. I was a kid, and I remember it. For those that don't, when President Reagan was president, the air traffic controllers of America went on strike, right? Remember? And Reagan fired them all and brought in military air traffic controllers to manage the towers and scabs, Screw them.
It taught them a lesson.
Exactly. And the today's air traffic controllers are probably too young to know about the Reagan firing them. So, and I guess I don't know who they're employed for, but I guess the federal government has some type of oversight on the air traffic controllers. I guess they work for the FAA or something. I don't know. But what a beautiful...
The thing that when I was falling asleep last night, I was watching, the president was threatening to fire people and not take them back.
Yes.
I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah.
I really would.
Yeah.
These Democrats are just too much.
All right. Do you want to take a call or two before we break?
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Let's go. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good morning. IB. Hey, Uncle Steve. How you been?
IB, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome, man. I'm swell. Nice to hear your voice live. Hey, Brian, a couple of quick things.
How old are you? I haven't heard someone use swell outside of Leave It to Beaver. What the heck? Who says swell?
Knock it off. Knock it off, Brian. We talked about that before on your
Did we? I don't
show.
remember.
Knock it off.
Okay.
Hey, yeah, but that's funny. Yeah.
Swell. All right, Beaver.
That's just old-fashioned talk because Steve is old-fashioned. I'm kind of,
Okay,
anyway.
Beaver.
But the first thing is before I talk about what's going on with the shutdown, you made me just realize something, that I had my first injury on my right hand when I was a little kid. I got ran over by a car. Probably a pedo was chasing me, and I ran across the street, got ran over. I didn't go to the hospital. I went home. The guy didn't even drive me home.
Yeah, but what would an illegal Mexican do?
Cry to mommy to go to the hospital.
That's right.
And when I was in the fifth. And I had a substitute teacher in the 5th grade when I fell on the playground and I cut my hand open. You know what he did? He put a duct tape on my hand, and I went back to play with my friends.
There you go.
Hey, when I was a kid, hospital was a luxury, moving right along. Now,
exactly.
When it comes to the shutdown, if anyone calls you again talking about, this is a Trump shutdown or Republican shutdown, they have to know that you told them so many times. The Republicans only have a certain amount of people. They need some of the Democrats to come along to make it happen. The Democrats say we're not going to come along to make it happen. Therefore, the Democrats are shutting down. And Trump is going to find another way because he's the genius. He's the brainiac. Trump's going to find another way to pay these people somehow, some way, even if it's through tariffs.
Well, he did. He mentioned yesterday that they're going to cover like the WIC, for the baby formula and stuff that women have. That they're going to use the tariff money for that, and he told the Navy over the weekend at that 250th naval birthday celebration that he's got a way to pay the military. I think he's just not announcing it so they don't go to some federal judge and order him to stop paying the military.
Just like he doesn't let them know when we was going to hit Soleimani because they're going to just try to impede him somehow, some way. But there's a lot of monies in different places that he can use. And this Charlie Kirk death, I never talked about it. Believe me, I was crushed, like being hit with a hammer.
Well, listen, I got to run, IB, but I'll give you the last word.
What people have to know is one of the guys who said that they did it, they shot him. He was also at September 11th and at January 6th. That guy needs to be looked into his travel.
Really?
One guy out of the two, the one who, when everybody ducked, he was the only one standing up.
Yeah, the one that said I did it. The old man. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that's interesting. That's
the guy. He's been at September 11th and he's been at January 6th.
Wow.
Go figure. Bye.
Wow. All right, take care. I'm going to look into that. I got to talk about life imaging FLA. This is amazing. Do you know that in 30 to 40% of heart attacks, Steve, do you know what the first sign of a heart attack is?
Instant death.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Early detection can actually save lives, and it does. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Life imaging FLA, their scanning process, there's no dyes. You don't have to get undressed. I wore my shirt and jeans, even kept my watch on when they did the scan. It takes just a few minutes, and it's amazing. Now I found out that my heart is I've got the heart of a 20-year-old. No blockage, no plaque buildup. My body is cancer-free, and I've got great peace of mind. However, there's people go in there every day and find out that they have blockage, right, or that they have a cancer. Because Life Imaging FLA's scanner can detect heart disease and even some cancers before you show any symptoms. It's really amazing. Give them a call and schedule your free heart scan now with just a few minimum requirements. That's valued at $699. From your cell phone, just pick up your cell and dial pound 250 and say free heart scan. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. Again, that's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected. Life Imaging FLA has locations in Broward, Palm Beach, and in Miami. Give them a call. We'll be right back. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. Hold on. Hey, Barry, it's Brian. Agreed. Hold on. All right, Steve, we got a minute, and then we got Barry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'll get Barry in just a minute. All right, Barry, we have about 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve's here. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Doing well. What do you have for us?
Good. How are you, Barry? I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you. So we have, with the new season coming, we have some exciting things coming up. And yesterday we just held one of our regular revocable living trust seminars here in Boca Raton. On Thursday, tomorrow, we're actually doing a Medicaid planning seminar in Boca Raton at 4 p.m. at Spanish River Library. So if that's something that you have been meaning to attend and you haven't had a chance, tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. at the beautiful Spanish River Library. If you haven't been there, you want to go there. It's a beautiful place. Look outside by the water. There's a beautiful walk out there as well, and that's where we do our legacy project, where we plant the trees in honor of many of our clients who passed. But also next week, I believe I'm looking right now, I believe it's next Thursday. Next Thursday, the 16th at 10 a.m. One of the things that we're doing that's different is we're adding additional locations. We're going to be giving a seminar in Wellington next Thursday. At the Fairfield Inn in Wellington at 10 a.m. So if you're out that way and that's more convenient for you, please give us a call and we can have you join us for that, and you can attend. And what we're also doing to mix things up this year, we're going to be adding some more locations and some different topics as well. So stay tuned for that.
Oh, that's good. I can't wait to hear the other topics, because I thought we've covered it all. But there's what we learned in our conversation yesterday, there's always something we haven't touched on. There's like endless combinations of things. When it comes to the Medicaid seminar, I think the biggest mistake people make is assuming that they can't qualify for Medicaid coverage. That's a terrible mistake that is probably very common that people make.
Yeah. It's people once they get the knowledge and they understand what's going, they understand the rules, and they get this information at our seminars or coming to a consultation, then they can understand and connect the dots that they could actually qualify. Because what most people do is they jump to the conclusion that they have too much assets, too much income, or both, and that this is not for them. And that is just a huge mistake. That could end up costing you everything if you or your spouse become ill. Yeah. That's why people need to attend these workshops.
Yeah, and I've been to 2 of your Medicaid workshops in the last couple of months, and they are very informative, and you learn a lot. But what blew me away is pretty much everybody I know, except President Trump, pretty much everybody I know will qualify. It's amazing. And that's why I need the Siegel Law Group behind you to do that. So to find out about those workshops or set up a no-charge in-office consultation, call the Siegel Law Group, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. And Siegel is spelled S-I-E-G-E-L. S-I-E-G-E-L, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, great. Thank you, guys.
Take care. Take care.
Amen.
All right. So a lot of stuff has been going on that we were, covering today. The shutdown's one, and that's a big one. Also another one, Kristi Noem went to Portland yesterday. Did you see any of this?
No.
Oh my goodness. This one it doesn't work on the air because it's a visual. But Kristi Noem, she's very tall, but she's very skinny. And she's always dressed up with her hair all done and everything else. She always looks great. And she doesn't look like the Secretary of Homeland Security, But she's so commanding. She's tough. And, she met with the chief of police for Portland, who's a guy. He's not one of these DEI women with preferred pronouns. It's a man. And you see her, somebody was recording like on their cell phone. I'm not sure who it was. Might have been Benny Johnson. I don't know who it was. But you see in the background, she meets with the chief of police of Portland. She walks out of his office and you can see the face on the chief of police of Portland. He looks like he's going to cry. I don't know what she said to him in that closed door meeting, but you might see this on, hold on, put you on hold while I answer some calls. Okay, you back with me, Steve?
I'm with you.
Okay, yeah, but you can see it. He puts his head down. I'm not exaggerating. He looks like he could cry. He's going to cry. I don't know what she said to him, but he was scared. And he looked like a real cop, not like that weirdo governor they have of Oregon who looks like Rachel Maddow with white hair. Did you watch Mad Men?
Yes, I love Mad Men.
Okay. Remember Don Draper, his best friend was his boss with the white hair? Do you remember? I can't remember the character's name. No, it's been a long time. Oh, that's what the governor of Portland, or I'm sorry, the governor of Oregon looks like, except the governor's a woman, right? Kind of looks like Rachel Maddow with the white hair. But that police chief, he was really not looking good. To make a grown man that upset, when you're coming in dressed to the nines like her, you weigh like 90 pounds and you're all made up with your hair extensions and makeup and everything else, you know what I mean? And you come and you've made a cop like that, like tear up, you're a tough broad. I mean, I would not mess around with Kristi Noem because she's scared.
Well, I'm sure she's tough.
Oh my gosh. She's like Tom Homan tough. I would not mess with her. I wish I could show you the video while we're on the air. It was brutal. And then there was this, did you see her talking to the illegal?
Did I miss the incident you're talking about?
Oh my goodness. Oh, my eye still hurts. I just rubbed my eye, which I'm not supposed to do after this cat injury. I'm going to have to go dunk my head in the water again. I'll try to do it after the show. But I might have to go at the bottom of the hour break and dunk my head back in the distilled water to clear out my eye. My eye was doing great, and I just rubbed my eye because it itches a little bit from the cat scratch. Oh, my goodness. It hurts like heck. It's all red again. I can feel the rock again. Yeah, I'm going to dunk my head at the bottom of the hour. The next break's bottom of the hour, so I'll do it then. Kristi Noem, they got this illegal. He's in the back of a Homeland Security car, Border Patrol car. He's handcuffed, and he asks her to let him go, but he does it in broken English. And she's like, no, let go. You know how sometimes you speak English in a foreign accent when you're talking to someone that doesn't speak. She's like, no, let go, no, let go. She says to the guy, it's hilarious. He's like, let me. I don't think he knew who she was.
Probably didn't.
You know, well, yeah, and he may not know who she is now. But he's like, let me go. And she says, no, let go. No, let go. It was hilarious. I mean, she is, she could be president, Steve. She could be president. She might be the second MAGA president. I don't know. JD's got the lock. But I
don't know. I think she looks more glamorous than.
Oh, no. If you saw her in Portland,
efficient.
Steve, if you saw her in Portland yesterday, she has Benny Johnson with her, who's embedded with her, like how journalists get embedded with people. So not in bed with, he's an embedded journalist with Border Patrol. So he was with her when they wouldn't let her use the bathroom in Chicago. He's the one who filmed that. So he's been following her around, filming everything. And I've never really seen her. I don't care about that puppy story anymore, that she wrote about in her book. That probably wasn't even true. She had a ghostwriter, I think. But the way I saw her making the police chief cry, telling the illegal, no, let go, no, let go. You're arrested. You're under arrest. She is. There's only one problem that President Trump and the MAGA movement have. We have too many qualified people to be the second MAGA president, right? We got her. We got JD. We got Marco. We got Pete Hegseth. We've got like the A team here of superhero perfect candidates. And who do they got? They got no one. Right? I mean,
no, that's for sure.
And we have an abundance of people. No, I have, it's not that I didn't like Kristi Noem, but I didn't think too much of her. Now I'm seeing her on the job with Benny Johnson's videos, following her around. And she is, she's bad, man. I mean, you would be very comfortable. If she were the first female president, the world would be terrified of her, just like they are of
Well, she's very beautiful. There's no question.
It's not her beauty. The beauty helps, and it's not bad. It's not the beauty. She's got that. She's tough. She's got that it factor, right? I mean, it's not her beauty.
I read my wife said that.
Yeah, it's not her beauty. She has the ability to go into a room, and no matter who's in the room, she's in charge. And that's a quality not a lot of people have, really. Especially women in high. It's not like a woman who's hot goes into a room and all the guys want to sleep with her. It's not that. She goes into a room and she takes charge, and no one questions who's in charge. It's her. It's Kristi Noem. This trip to Portland, you'll probably see some of the footage on television today. It is amazing, and she does it in fancy jewelry, a $50,000 watch. She's all decked out, but she's tough. All right, let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. I may or may not dunk my head in the distilled water and clean my eye out during the break. We'll see. It's the Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. Let me see if I can pull that video up for you guys. Hold on, the Kristi Noem video. Okay, here's the video of her with the police chief. Nick Sorter took this video. It's got his name up there. Nick Sorter took this video. Watch. So you see Kristi Noem. She just walked out of the office. Right? Watch the chief. Look at him. Does he look like he's about to cry? Yeah, he does. He does not look well. Let me find the other video. Hold on. He does not look well. I'm not sure if I can find the other one with the guy getting arrested. Okay, here's the other one. This is hilarious. Watch this. Okay, so this is Kristi Noem, and this is the illegal they just arrested. Watch this. Watch this. Nick Sorter took this too. Not let you out. No, not let you out. No let you out. Oh, that was pretty good. I like that in the beginning. Let me rewind it. We're coming back. Hold on. You're under arrest. Okay, hold on. All right. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, hold on. We'll be back in a minute. Less than a minute. We'll be back in about 20 seconds. Oh, my goodness. All right. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Steve Kane here. I watched the video during the break. The guy says, "Let me out," and she says, with a heavy accent, she says, "Let you out?" He said, "Yeah." She says, "No, you're under arrest. No, let out. You're under arrest. You're going to jail." She is so good, Steve. She is so good. All right, you want to take some calls?
Yeah, it'd be good.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Dave from Boca.
Hey, Dave.
What's up?
I happen to be an ophthalmologist, and you might have a corneal abrasion. Cat scratches can be dirty, and you probably should be on some antibiotic drops.
Maybe.
So just some free professional advice.
I'm doing okay. I'm all right.
All right. If it doesn't get better quickly, check it out.
How much is it? How much is an in-office appointment with no insurance, out of pocket?
First visit, $200.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Does that?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Now, if you have to treat my eye, what am I going to have to owe you?
No, that covers everything.
Covers everything. Okay. All right. Appreciate the advice. Oh my goodness! No, I'll stick to my distilled water and saline drops. If I need to, if it gets,
that's not going to help you. If you need an antibiotic, that's not going to help you.
If the eye gets worse, I'll go to the doctor. I see no reason to go to the doctor. I'm not dispensing medical advice. I'm just giving you my opinion. I'm just, Oh my goodness. Nope. If the eye gets worse, I'll go to the doctor, Steve. But there's no need to go yet, right? You have to run to the emergency room for everything. That's just the way it is. Or to a doctor. And good luck with an ophthalmologist, new patient getting right in. I should have asked him, how long does it take to see him? 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 months, right? An ophthalmologist, private practice. I don't think you just can't go walk into an ophthalmologist office. All right, let's take some more calls. You're on the air.
I can't believe I'm getting involved in this discussion.
Yeah, it's what
but
it is.
If you go to an emergency room, you don't have to worry about that.
Sure you do. I don't have insurance, Steve. I don't have insurance. I'd have to pay for it. I'm going to wait and see. If my eye gets worse, I'll go to the doctor. But since I'm uninsured, I'm going to wait and see. All right, you're on the air. Okay. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Hey, Jay, turn the volume down in the background.
Hey, Jay, what's up?
Hold on 1 second. Let me turn my TV down. I'm not at work today. Don't feel good.
Oh.
I'm calling because earlier today...
We'll go easy with you.
Today, yeah, just try. Yeah, go easy with me, Steve. Yeah, I really need that. Earlier today, I heard you talking about how the pro-Israel and all that kind of stuff and how it's gone too far and it's gone too long. My thing is about the fact that when I said it was going too long and going too far and that Israel did too much, they've just demolished everything. Everything. There's not even a peanut standing.
Yeah.
You said I was wrong. Well, how come you're right now, but I was wrong then?
I don't remember the call.
It doesn't matter if you remember. Just the fact. Just go with the fact that. But
the difference between there's a difference between you and me. Okay, Jews can do no right in your mind. Yeah. Jews are never right in your mind. So no matter what a Jew does, you don't like Jews. So whatever a Jew does, you're going to say is wrong. So you have no credibility when it comes to Jews.
Can you focus 1 second and go with the part that you said It's gone too far, too long.
Tell me something good about it. Tell me something good about a Jew.
Can you focus
see what I mean?
on your retarded?
See what I mean? No, you're just an anti-Semitic bigot.
Can you focus on to answer the question that I
Don't
asked?
you understand? I did answer your question.
No, you didn't.
The answer I gave you was not what you were prepared for.
I said it. Why, when I said it, you said I was wrong?
I'm going to repeat it again for like the 5th time. Okay? Can you stop talking and listen and don't interrupt? Because I've answered this like 4 times already, but I'm going to answer it for you one last time. A Jew can do no right by you. So whatever a Jew does, you're going to say is wrong. So when it comes to Israel and Jews, you have no credibility because Jews are always wrong.
The easy way to do it is just ask him what have Jews or individual Jews done that you approve of.
Yes.
It's easy to shoot down. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, then once
this is dead air.
About how once I tell you about
Can
how
you think of it?
about the Jews,
Tell me one good thing. Hold on. No, I'm not gonna hang up. Just tell us one good thing about the Jews.
Well, you could probably go ahead because I ain't got no answer for that one.
Oh my goodness. See?
Okay, so what you said, Brian, is correct.
Yep. That's
correct. Brian is not
so
correct.
We're finished.
I told them that Israel was going too far. He said, "No, they're not."
He said
Israel is not taking it too long. It's taking them too much, doing too much. When I said it, I was crazy.
All right, I don't think Jay here can absorb what we're saying to him, Steve. I think he's in so much denial about his anti-Semitism. He's not even hearing us. All right, thank you for your call. Thank you for your call.
Want me to say something
Thank you for your call. Thank you for your call. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a pretty simple question, and he couldn't answer it. All right, let's see what else we got here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, this is Dave in Virginia.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah, I was going to call and tell you that, in the Bible, it does state, no matter what Israel does, that they're God's chosen people to the end of time. So,
that's true.
This guy's wrong. Mm-hmm. Yep, and that guy's wrong. And, I don't believe in what the government's done, but their government has been corrupt, over what, 4,000, 3,000 years they've been corrupt.
Listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing, okay? And the president has said this. After October 7th, Israel had world opinion on their side, which is unheard of for Israel. And Netanyahu drugged this war out so long that they lost public opinion. And President Trump told him to wrap it up because they're losing public opinion. He told him that weeks ago. And that's what I'm talking about. I support Israel, but they've lost the public opinion.
There's no question that Israel is in a bad situation. PR-wise.
Catch-22.
Yeah. But the bottom line is, what are they going to do? It takes two to make peace.
Yes.
What you're going to find out at the end of this thing is the Arabs would rather be dead than give in to Israel.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to find at the end.
And you had to knock all those buildings
Trump
down
is just so
because snipers. And snipers up in the roofs of those big buildings, you got to knock them all down.
That's correct. It's a sad thing. That attack, people know October 7th. I think people have lost touch with what happened on that day. These Hamas terrorists flew in on ultralight. Some of them came by land. Some of them came in on ultralight airplanes. And they didn't just rape and kill people at the music festival and kidnap them. They went into a local residential community first thing in the morning while families were having breakfast, and they raped the mothers and the daughters and killed them and kidnapped them and killed the kids and killed the dads and kidnapped them. And what they did was so brutal, and people have lost touch with what happened on that day.
And then look what they're doing up in Michigan right now. They had that 5,000 man march in the cities up there at Dearborn.
Yeah,
I thought, my goodness, that's got to stop.
Yeah. Here's the thing: there's nothing Israel is going to do that's going to stop them from being attacked by the Muslims. the deal that President Trump offered them, basically everyone in Gaza just won the Powerball lottery. But they just have to agree to one thing. Yeah. Stop killing Jews. And that one thing, they just can't get over that hurdle. Oh, you've gone too far, Trump. We can't stop. What do you mean? I mean, come on. He set them all up for life, in living a life of luxury and abundance. If they just stop killing Jews, they get their.
But they don't want peace. They're fanatics.
Correct. It even gives them their Palestinian state that they're always griping about.
Those people could have.
The problem is you're discussing this as though the problem with what you're hearing is most people are giving not the Israelis but the Arabs, giving them credit for logic and reason.
Exactly.
They don't have logic and reason. They're psychotic killers.
It's like trying to negotiate with
just a bunch of killers.
It's like trying to negotiate with the Klan. Nothing you do, they're still going to hate blacks. Okay, there's nothing you can do.
Yep.
No,
nothing you can do.
Well,
good talking to you.
Good talking. The Palestinians, I mean, what they are basically, Steve, are Nazis. When it comes to Jews, I mean, they're Nazis. That's it. They have the same attitude as Nazis, and you're not going to get Nazis to stop the killing. It's just it's impossible to happen. I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. Steve, I was yesterday. I had a tough time you weren't here yesterday. Yesterday was a tough show. I had gotten rid of my pre-weight loss clothes, so I thought. And yesterday I put on a pair of underwear, was for my pre-weight loss. And my underwear and pants, they were falling off me during the whole show yesterday. Because I was wearing the old underwear when my waist was a few inches wider than it is now. And, that's what happens when you get dressed in the dark early in the morning. But I've lost inches off my waist. I have a flat stomach. I lost my belly. I weigh what I weighed 29 years ago when my wife and I got married. And I did all of this without any prescription medications, without any shots, without any exercise, without starving myself. And, with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, my results are typical. You can lose 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. If you're local, you can go in person. But if not, you can handle everything over Zoom and phone calls. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. I'm going to give you the number right now and schedule your free consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, we'll take our last break and be right back. Uh-oh, I got to get you the gold report. Hey there, hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, hold on, I'm going to get you, William, hold on. All right, we have about 20 seconds, William.
Okay.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve's here. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Well, get out the fireworks because we are over $4,000 an ounce for gold now.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yesterday, we saw gold close up $24.40 at $3,983.60. Silver was down 49 cents yesterday, closing out at $47.76 the ounce. Platinum gained $4 yesterday, closing out the day at $16.23. And palladium was up $30 at $1,330. Overnight, gold trading in a range of $3,982 all the way up to $4,050. And right now we are at $4,033 the ounce. $4,033. That's up $49.40 on gold.
Oh,
silver
my Lord.
Silver's up $1.09 at $48.85. So far, we did get up to $49.12 this morning. Certainly heading for that $50 and beyond. Platinum up $33 at $1,656. And palladium up $46 at $13.76. So we finally hit the $4,000 number that I predicted for this year. I didn't think we'd get here this quick, but here we are, over $4,000 an ounce. And
wow. You know, and if you've got anything made of the metals, today's a good day to turn that into money, cash, or just some coins. This is a momentous day. You know, wait, let's talk to people that can't make it into your shop. Maybe they're in town, another part of Florida, another part of the country. How they can do their transactions with you over the phone, how that works, and what the benefits of it are.
Certainly, you can pick up the phone, call us on our 800 number, and lock in a price, whether you're buying or selling. And if you're buying from us, it's shipped fully insured wherever you're at. Within 24 hours of payment.
Yeah, and you know and your name doesn't go into some telemarketer's list, and you're not going to get harassing phone calls. Everything is confidential with your transactions, and this is just an amazing time. Give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. here on the East Coast in Florida. 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. If you could stop in, you should. William Youngerman's, all the metals are available for immediate delivery. The address,
can I ask William a question real quick?
Yeah, sure.
Finish the number you were giving.
Oh, yeah. The address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway, and on the south side of the street.
My question to William, if you're there, what is the new projected high? Where do you see it going?
Well, our real focus for this year was $4,100 to $4,200 on gold. We may surpass that very quickly, but next year we are projecting possibly a $5,000 price for gold.
Oh my goodness!
If this market continues in the way it's acting, if that doesn't mean that we won't have some kind of a pullback, but we have had a steady, healthy climbing market that is not indicative of some of the other markets where we've seen them run up real quick and then run right back down. There's something else underlying the strength of the metals, and that hasn't abated one bit so far this last couple of years. So. Where we're going is anybody's guess. I mean, there's a lot of forecasters out there that are saying we're going to see $10,000 gold, $100 silver, and and all those numbers seem crazy, but so did $4,000 gold.
It did.
But, if you had bought Bitcoin when it was $1,000 and anybody told you it was going to $125,000, you would have said they're out of their minds.
Yeah.
So we don't know what the death of the currencies of the world are going to actually equate to when it comes to precious metals and other hard assets or assets of some kind of a sustainable value. And so we don't know where gold's going really. I mean, the last time gold took off from what was a an unrealistic figure was back in the 70s when we were selling gold for $100 an ounce, and it went 8 times that price within a few short years to $850 an ounce.
Yeah.
And if you say that gold started off at $1,000 or $2,000 from this run, let's just say 1,000, and you go 10 times that, you're still at $10,000 gold.
Yeah.
And the amount of paper that's out there, currencies that are out there chasing the metals from central banks to other people's wealth is exponential. That we could see that who knows where this can go, because there's just so much paper been printed.
Yeah, I mean, we don't even know what the base price is going to be anymore at this point. I mean, it's impossible to tell, but it's going to be high. All right, well, listen, again, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. Give him a call, toll free, no matter where you're located, he can help you. 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and you can find both his phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. That's williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thanks.
All right, take care. Wow, it's crazy, Steve. Crazy.
It's unbelievable.
I know.
Breathtaking.
I'm in shock. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name's Pat, calling from Gainesville, Florida.
All right, Gainesville, Florida. What's up?
Question. Are you a Christian?
Yeah, I'm like a Christian.
Do you believe in Christ?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
here we go.
With that being said, are you familiar with Matthew 21:33 through 46?
Tell me real quick.
That is the tenant, the wicked tenants. It's the parable of the wicked tenants.
All right, well, make your
point. And in the parable of the wicked tenants, okay, I stumbled across your live while I was listening to the podcast at work, and
well, welcome.
I do not subscribe to the thought that we're supposed to blindly follow Israel. Because their God and your God, my God,
it's the same God,
are two different gods.
No,
it's not the same God.
No, it's the same God.
So,
same God.
Okay, I can prove it to you very, very easily, very quickly.
Yes.
The Star of David, which is on their flag, correct?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Star of David?
Yes.
Are you familiar in the Bible of any book that says anything about the Star of David?
No, I don't know. I don't know the origin of this.
Okay. Okay, let me tell you the origin then. So
we don't have time for the origin, but we're running short on time.
Well,
so what's your point? You want to? So hold on. So you want? Just let me ask you this. So, excuse me. You want us to pull away from Israel and let the Muslims finish the Holocaust and kill all the Jews? Is that what you're saying? That's the America First thing to do? Is that what you're telling us? Sounds like
that's what he's saying.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
No, sir.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
That's why you cut me off. I go to the Book of Acts.
No, we're not going to the book. We're not going to the Bible. You know, you just don't have the guts to say what you mean.
You're not a Christian then, because I'm trying to tell you.
Why? Because I won't let some boring anti-Semite hijack the show. I'm not a Christian. I mean, my goodness. I thought you guys had the same God as the Christians, Steve. You got a different God now, the Jews? That's a new one. But then again, that's a new one. I thought anti-Semitism had been pretty wiped out in this country. I guess it's either I was wrong or it's back. I mean, is this what it used to be like?
It's back with a vengeance.
You know, when you went to college, you went to Rollins College here in Florida, right?
Yeah.
And that was like in the Steve's up. That was in the 50s, and you used to talk about all this anti-Semitism and everything else, and I kind of thought it was like, oh, come on. But now this is like the 50s, isn't it? This anti-Semitism, guy calling from Gainesville. You know, it's kind of like those days, isn't it? I mean, it's scary.
Well, in parts of Florida are exactly the same as they were back then.
Parts of New York City, this anti-Semitism, I think, is becoming almost, I hate to say it, almost mainstream in this country. It's becoming almost mainstream. I've never heard so much anti-Semitism as I've heard in the last 2 years, and it's getting worse all the time. You know, and it's
It would appear that way.
Yeah, and a lot, this is what really is tough. A lot of it comes from conservatives. And it pains me to say that. Like that guy from Gainesville, I'm sure he's a Trump guy. And I'm not sure what the root cause of that is. I'm not sure where it's all coming from. But
so you're saying politically you probably agree with them on more issues than disagree?
We probably do, except when, there's this whole thing that I hear a lot of MAGA people say, and you and I are MAGA. They say, I'm MAGA's America first, I'm America first, supporting Israel is not America first. So I don't support Israel. That's how they hide. And this anti-Semitism is one of the reasons Zohan's doing so well. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Life Imaging FLA. I've been telling you guys that I had this big weight lifted off my shoulders, that my cholesterol is about 300. It's been about 300 since, for the last 25 or plus years. Every doctor I've seen has told me I'm a heart attack waiting to happen. And I just assumed at some point in my 50s I was going to drop dead from a heart attack. That's why I have so many insurance. I have so much insurance, life insurance, because I just assumed I was going to die of a heart attack. And when I went over to Life Imaging FLA, I went over there and met with them with someone from the radio station. And they're telling me about the process. And I was so scared because I thought when I got my heart scan, I was going to have like 30-40% blockage, plaque buildup in all my arteries and everything. Completely clear. No blockage, no plaque. And also, I had the full body scan, no cancers either. And I was expecting by this time to have had bypass surgery or stents put in by this time after I went over there 2 weeks ago. But a lot of people go in and find out they do have blockage or do have some type of cancer because the scanner that they use at Life Imaging FLA can easily detect heart disease and even some cancers before you show any symptoms. It's amazing. So call Life Imaging FLA. They have locations in Palm Beach, Broward, and in Miami. Give them a call for your free heart scan with just a few minimum requirements, which is valued at $699. From your cell phone, just dial pound 250. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. Again, that's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. All right, let's take some more calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve.
Brian, what's up?
We're getting a really good picture here of just how tough and talented our cabinet is. Yesterday we had Ladies' Day. We have Kristi Noem go down there and straighten out this chief of police in Portland. He looked like a seasoned officer, but boy, he looked like the tears are welling up in this guy.
You saw the video. He was a broken man. I did. He was a broken man after talking to Kristi Noem.
Absolutely.
What did she say to him?
I would love to get that conversation. I would love to hear that. That would, if we ever could get a copy of that. The other one was Pam Bondi with this inquisition they tried to put and the Senate hearing. She torched everybody there.
Yeah.
They were excellent yesterday.
Yeah.
They were excellent.
Later today, I'm not impressed by her because I'm Comey's surrendering today for arraignment. He's not being handcuffed. He's not being perp walked. He's going to walk in like he owns the joint. And
he just has to show up then.
And she did it. Yeah, she did a good job yesterday. But I'm going to see some handcuffs on some people.
I think we're going to see handcuffs on quite a few people. I think this is the start of something very, very big.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope.
But I think the ladies they did pretty well last night. But Kristi Noem, I mean, what did she say to that guy?
And let me tell you, that police chief in Portland is not one of these DEI gender guys with his pronouns. He looked like a real cop. And she was on the verge of tears in front of his own men in his own office when she walked out. He was I don't know what she said to him.
Well, he looked like a seasoned police officer, worked his way up, through the ranks in that. But
maybe,
man, she took him apart.
He looked.
And the interview with the guy in the back of the car, they're going to say, boy, these even the gringo guys are bad. The gringo women are. She didn't put up with nonsense from anybody.
The illegal that she said, he said, let me go.
Yeah, in the backseat of the car.
She says, let me go. No, let go. No, let go. You're under arrest. Don't let go. And then she says, is your brother illegal too? She says to him. And then all of a sudden he speaks English very well and invokes his right to remain silent. All of a sudden, he speaks
Well, you remember
English.
when she was down here at Everglades Alcatraz with
Alligator Alcatraz.
Trump and the
Alligator Alcatraz.
and just took Alligator Alcatraz and took.
Listen, we're out of time, so we got to run. But appreciate the call. That's it for us today. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane has been here. I'm Brian Craig. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. God bless Donald Trump and Charlie Kirk. All right, we're clear. Oh, man. Yeah, let me play this again. This is, Nick Sorter took this video. This is Kristi Noem with the illegal they arrested. Watch. Not let you out. No talkie now. Wow. Wow. You would. This is Nick Sorter took all this. The guy, the conservative reporter. That was. Wow. I mean, that's what you want. You know, we got our country back, is what's happened here, right? We've got our country back. Let me find the other video of her. Let me see if I can find the other one. Let me find it. Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's the video. I'll make this one big. If you're watching with the green behind me, go to my mainstream. You can see and hear the video and the audio. Okay. This is Kristi Noem. She just walked out. You can see her there. There's the police chief of Portland. And she just walked out. She had a meeting with the police chief of Portland. And look at this guy's face. Look at him. What did she say to that guy? Does he look scared to you? He does to me. I don't know what she said to that guy, but she scared the daylights out of him, didn't she? Oh my goodness. That was amazing. Yeah, she did a very good job. Now, see, this is one of the problems we have in this country. Now, remember we were talking about the people that boxed in the ICE agents. And remember, the one woman crashed into the ICE agents' SUV, 10 cars boxed them in, then the one woman crashed in, got out with a rifle, started shooting at the federal agents. They let her out of jail. Look at this. This is CBS News in Chicago. Here she is. Notice how they describe her. She's the woman shot by federal agents, not the woman who shot at federal agents or crashed into federal agents or was part of that boxing in. She's the victim. This is local news in Chicago. He was the one who I think, filmed the crashing. He was driving one of the cars that boxed in the federal agents. He got out too. I mean, how do they get out? And what kind of message does that send? Right? A pretty scary one. It sends a message that it's okay to do what it is they did, that they're the victims. And I'm sorry, I don't care how simple, whether or not the people of Chicago or their fake news in Chicago want these people there or not. Now this here, I wanted to show you this. Hold on. Let me pull this up. This is something else. Let me see if I can get this video. Look at this. Democrat Haley Stevens, Democrat from Michigan, right? She shows up to a campaign event. Only one person showed up. Look at this. She's on stage, and there's only one person there to see her speak. You know why that is? Why is there only one person there? And this guy may work for her for all we know. You know why? USAID. There's no one to pay the fake crowds to show up anymore. There's no one to pay the fake crowds. So they get one person to show up who might work for her. Who knows? Might even be a relative. If you're new to my channel, my name is Brian. And this is where MAGA comes to talk. I live stream here all the time, and I'm always taking live calls like I've been doing today. I host a morning radio show, and I start before the radio show, and now the radio show just ended a few minutes ago. And I do go after the radio show, too, as I'm doing now. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell. You can also catch me in the afternoons, where I podcast here on my YouTube channel live, taking live calls, and I'm also here on the weekends as well. So if you're new, welcome. And you're welcome to call me whether you agree or disagree from me. Always welcome to call. All right, this is where MAGA comes to talk. My name is Brian. Thanks for tuning in.